Already.
Purpose. No one can create your purpose for you. No one can tell you who to be. So in purpose, you have to create your own purpose. And in evolution, you have to evolve towards that purpose. It's easier to live when you have goals to meet. You understand? If you have goals to meet, then you don't feel so voided, and you understand why every day you're looking at this person in the mirror, because that is the cool part about the game. You get to be anybody you want to be.
All right, welcome. You guys are tuned into another episode of the Power of Ownership Podcast. Let's go ahead and get it started. We have a special guest here, Dr. Sheila Pope. You probably recognize her from we had the one-on-one this week on Friday, so I'm glad you guys tuned into that. We're gonna let our guest introduce herself first, and then we're gonna get into the introductions. Then we'll go from there. All right. So. Yep. So if you want to tell them where they can find you and who are you in 30-second bio, 60-second bio as well.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sheila Pope. You can find me on Instagram as Dr. Sheila Pope TV. Dr. Sheila Pope. And then you can find me on YouTube, Dr. Sheila Pope TV. I am an educator, but now I have moved officially into the real estate game and the luxury real estate market, let me say. And so I'm excited about that. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to learn a lot from you guys. And again, I appreciate the opportunity.
Gotcha. All right. So let me go ahead and knock mine out real quick, and then we'll go ahead and let David actually introduce himself. My name is Brandon B. Dixon. My NMLS is 1541210. It's at Billionaire Loan, also on all social media, including the YouTube. So please like, subscribe. Also, if you like our content, please comment and engage. We definitely appreciate that. I'm, seeing an uptick in reach, so I definitely appreciate y'all viewing and the comment. But we need more the content, but we need more comments. So we need comments. We need feedback. So I appreciate that. Go to my website www.applywithb.com if you want to book me for a consultation, or if you want to apply for a mortgage. You can contact me at 832-775-8357. You call me 24/7 as long as it's about business. I will answer. In fact, on 4th of July, I had a 2-hour conversation about loans. We got real granular about loans, so I don't mind. Just be prepared to talk. www.brandonbdixon.com. Don't forget I'm a licensed realtor as well. If you want to lease, list, so on and so forth, you can find me there. All right, so David, I got you know how to work your own banner. So
I got this now. You've taught me well.
Right.
Thank you, Yoda. All right, so my name is David Youngs. I am National Mortgage Licensing and Sponsorship Licensed is the NMLS 328679. I am licensed in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, North Dakota, Arkansas, Florida, and Tennessee. But we have nationwide options, so it doesn't matter where you are, what you need. Between Brandon and I, we can get you to the right person wherever you are. My YouTube handle is Infinite Home Team. So you'll find most of my content on that platform, Infinite Home Team. That is also my website, infinitehometeam.com, or davidyoungs.com. My name will also get you to a separate site, both of which have a lot of great content, videos, downloadable things, calculators, videos about me and my life, my background, all that good stuff. So check that when you get a chance. My calendar is davidyoungscalendar.com. If you want to schedule anything with me at all, including the QR code at the top right, which we're going to talk about later, if you scan that, that'll get you right on my calendar there. And lastly, if you want to just simply not remember any of this and just download all of it to your phone, go to this website, .cards/David Youngs on your phone, hit download save, and it'll save you right into your phone, save all my contact information right into your phone. So you'll have it all in one shot, including the website, the calendar, the social media, everything. So that is me, and excited to be here. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Pope, as well as a guest panelist today.
Gotcha. All right, so let's go ahead and get it started. And this is the Power of Ownership podcast. This is our usual Monday stream, and on the panels we usually have some of the latest clips that's went viral through the week. And usually we have you stick around, we have an underlying theme, an overarching theme that we usually talk about. So you have to stick around and follow us, and then you'll discover what we're talking about as we unravel the conversation here. But
first time ever, by the way, Brandon, I think I know what the theme is.
Right.
Beforehand, I think I know what the theme is for the first time ever.
Right.
Well, I just want to say, because I don't know what the clips are, so this is a live show, so you're gonna get my real unedited live response.
I love it.
Disclosure out there.
As a realtor too, that's gonna be extremely valuable feedback for us as well.
Right. So if this is your first time tuning in, what we do is we watch the latest viral clips, we react to them, we ask some interesting questions. We get real life feedback, real time. Also, we talk about not just home ownership. We talk about ownerships of the mind, body, and soul, encompassing ownership in its entirety. So we just don't stick to mortgage. We just don't stick to business. We talk about ownership, accountability, so on and so forth. So let's get it kicked off with the first question here. Before we get to the clip. Can somebody be great at their job if nobody enjoys working with them? Or does professionalism matter just as much as performance? So, Dr. Pope, you're our guest, so I'll let you get a first tackle at that.
Okay, the question is, can someone be great at their job, but yet they're not liked?
Yeah, if nobody enjoys working with them.
You can be great at your job. Now, being great at your job and then being liked are two different things. Right. There are some people who can produce. So I don't think everybody that produces highly, let's use Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. Not everybody likes to go, but he was very productive, right? His mentality was such. So now, can you be better, a team fit and more cohesive for the team if you're liked? Yes, that does make the culture different. But I don't think you have to be liked to be productive. But do you have to be, when you say professional, you can be professional and people still don't like you. Some people are jealous of what you're able to produce, especially in real estate. Usually the person that's making all the sales, people get a little snappy and a little crabby in the background, and they can be great people. It's just our sense of competitiveness. So I don't think it's always about being liked. I do think that you have to be professional and respectful and a team player to make cohesiveness, last.
Mm-hmm. Brandon, if I can go next?
Sure.
Dr. Pope, I think you said this perfectly. Like I said, I was going to say the exact same thing. There are from experience, most of the good people in this industry that are leading a team are likable.
Yes.
The ones that are really good producers, though, not leading a team, not the nicest people to work with.
Yep.
Generally speaking, there's a reason why certain people are attractive to other people and can build a team and have a nice camaraderie together. So if you don't have that likability factor, I think both can be good producers.
Yes.
But the likability factor draws people to you, and usually that person will excel to another level and will have better team structure inside of that. So I love that you shared that. That is exactly the same thought I had.
Right. Always have to come from different angles, So, I'm not disagreeing with you saying, but I'm going to frame it like this. I think that was true maybe a generation ago. I think the Gen Zers in this new generation, I think in order to be great at your job, people have to enjoy working with you. And I think this is so big on culture, it's so big on, toxicity, that they're hypersensitive. So I don't think, so the question is, can somebody be great at their job? Mm-hmm. What happens is if nobody likes you, a mutiny is surely going to follow. If so that's what happens nowadays. This is the cancel culture. So back in, I would say 20, 30 years ago, yes, you could be the outlier, the lone wolf. Yes. Nowadays, it has to be a cohesive culture. It has to be a synergy there. And I think professionalism has to be part of it. I think as you get great, you master both. My mentor used to say there's internal and external customers, right?
Yeah.
The external customers are the ones that you service, and then the internal is your teammates. So all of those are important. Customers is what makes the business go around, right? So both of those you have to be professional too, right? So that.
No, I think you're missing I think you're kind of interchanging your variables there, but that's okay because we're here to make sure we're all getting along well. But I'm gonna say again, Michael Jordan was not liked. If you watch the documentary, a lot of people do not like him personally, but they respect his game. And the Chicago Bulls were not going to win without his productivity. So he needed to be productive. Championships are not always won by the likable. That's why you hire people around you on that team that David mentioned. When you hire the other person that your people skills are not your strength, you hire out for that part. You have someone else do all that part. But you are the one that's keeping the ship alive and floating. Sometimes being likable does not get you your money in the door. We all know that. I can be very likable, but I need to close the deal. I need to be able to know what I need to do, who I need to contact, work with my network to get things across the table and get to the finish line. So sometimes that's not always niceness. That is professionalism. I think we are now in a world, and I agree with you. We're now working not so much as teams anymore, too, if you think about it. Like we're on a Zoom. We have to have professional courtesy, but we don't have to do this every day, all day in a team setting. We are able to use technology and bring us forth tonight to have a good discussion and be able to communicate and understand each other and articulate. But we don't have to be likable to each other, but we should have that kind of our jobs. We have that kind of personality that's required in our job. It's our nature. We're salespeople. We are putting on the best face most of the time. But if it comes down to I say I want that contract and you say, I wanted to get financed and you say, Brandon, you can't get me the deal, I'm going to find out what David can do. And I might love you to death, but I'm going to the person to get me my money.
Right. Just to kind of slight pushback before we get to the clip, and I won't read the comment. We got a comment on. Don't forget that Jordan played in the 90s.
Oh Lord! Are we not rocking? Did you say that? Did you bring that up?
Yeah, so Jordan played 30 years ago. LeBron
way back in the day.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Any of the champions are not well liked.
Right. Well, LeBron, people want to play with LeBron. People enjoy playing with LeBron, and that's why there's an argument whether who's the GOAT.
But how long did it take LeBron to get that mentality like Jordan? You have to be able to stop dispersing the ball and do the job yourself sometimes.
Right.
I know.
Like I said, I don't disagree with you.
About sports, so I apologize.
Right.
I get
passionate. I don't disagree with you, but I have to say in this particular, it struck me. It took me back for a second as well. This generation's a little bit different. This generation.
What's funny about this whole thing to me is I can't name a single sports player on any team today, but I know who you're talking about with both those people because I grew up in that age following those people. So I actually know who LeBron and Jordan are.
And they're productive, right? So, and Tiger Woods, right now, poor Tiger.
I know him too.
Yes. Yeah. And he was in an individual sport, so we can't say team, but not everybody liked Tiger.
Right.
Tiger came through and shut down a whole culture of golf. It changed. They had to let other people in to play, and he came in and tore that house down.
Gotcha. So, Kashana Muhammad says, I actually just went through this at my job. So that's kind of the theme is like they're really hypersensitive on culture nowadays in today's workforce and corporate America. Let's go ahead and roll the clip. Yeah. Let's go ahead and roll this first clip here, and then we got a follow-up question from there. So
Okay.
Let's go ahead and get this going. And let me know when y'all can see the screen.
Will do.
Let me make sure. Hold on, I got too many. I got too many. What you call them?
That's what you call them.
Yeah, I got too many screens up. Hold on a second. I'm struggle streaming already. I try to prep everything.
I've had this problem before. Everything always works beautifully when you're doing this.
Here we go. Actually, this is the first time I put all the clips together, so I don't have any interruptions here.
Oh,
all right,
nice.
Can y'all see the screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and run it.
Love this clip.
I can't hear.
Hey, hit restart on that one.
Without a doubt, 8 out of 10 is just the rudest, unprofessional interaction I've ever had in any job, any group of people I've ever met in my life. Your job is to represent a buyer, a seller, a renter. You then build the reputation that you are rude, obnoxious, and difficult to deal with. How does that help your clients when you behave that way? I've been in this industry for 5 years. The unprofessionalism that I witness on a day-to-day basis is ridiculous. You sabotaged your own business because you felt like you had to be a douchebag to every single person you interacted with. Us as agents need to stop with this chip on our shoulder, because at the end of the day, the client's best interest is what matters. So to help deals get done in these crazy situations, in this crazy market, is what really helps us get to the closing table. I think pisses me off more than I'll say hi or I'll talk to or engage with 10 realtors. Without a doubt, 8 out of 10 of them, just the rudest, unprofessional.
I just wanted to make sure we get the first part of it first. So before we get the reaction, I'm gonna pose the question now, so y'all can do both at the same time, react to it and answer the question. So the question I have is, if your attitude makes other professionals less willing to work with you, are you hurting yourself?
That's different.
Or you're hurting your clients the most? You know, so you're hurting yourself, or are you hurting your clients the most? So go ahead, Dr. Pope, if you want to digest the clip and then answer the question as well.
Well, okay. I'm going to say this because a long time ago, I was going, before I became a licensed realtor, I went to the live classes, and I realized that I was like, why am I in this room with some of these people? But then I understood something. In real estate, there are not very many barriers to entry into our profession. So therefore, you get different levels of people, and they have different levels. We all have different backgrounds, right? So I think that does impact how some realtors are perceived. Okay, that's one. Now I'm going to go back to, yes, I totally agree that your attitude, especially in real estate, my goal is to help my client. My goal is to help the buyer or the seller sell their property and receive their cash. That's the goal. And if I have done something to harm the deal, I have hurt them, and then therefore I've hurt myself, because the goal is to help the client first. They're first, and then me. So I'm not doing it just out of being kind and nice. I'm doing it to make money. So I totally agree that yes, it does. My attitude, if it's unprofessional, will harm my client first, and therefore it would impact my bottom line. So I agree that there are some realtors, and again, this is a little different from our original question, but it goes back to now individually. What are you doing as a professional to get get your client across the finish line? And that does require collaboration with all of the barriers. Everybody's in the game. You need to collaborate, communicate effectively and professionally, and keep in mind that everybody can, hinder the process. It's not over till it's over. So we need everybody on board.
David,
Ray, you want to go next, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I mean, again, I may have a different take. I think it goes, I think it goes hand in hand with the first question. If nobody enjoys working with you, does professionalism matter much as performance? Yes.
But you keep saying, do they not like you? That's not the same as being professional.
The question is, enjoys working with them. So that means,
I thought, okay.
Yeah. So if you enjoy working with them, that means that the experience is a positive experience, whether
Well,
you're
we
internal or
agree
external.
on that. I would once might have a pleasant experience, but I can say that because some people don't say good morning, and I may say good morning to everybody when I enter a room. Some people say it's unprofessional. Some people find that some people are just not talkative. That doesn't mean they're not engaging. That's just not their personality, and they work better sometimes. So I think sometimes people take what they deem professionalism, maybe personality quirks. It may not be that they're not professional, but I agree with you. You do have to work with someone, and it should be a pleasant experience. I totally agree with you on that one.
Right. So, but isn't, so to carry from the first question and into this question, um, don't forget that there's two parts. There's the receiver and there's the actual person that's actually, sending the message.
Right.
And if this is your job is communication,
Mm-hmm.
as far as people skill, how can you be great if you're not a great people's person? If you're not great at making people enjoy the experience, whether it's not just your customer, whether it's the loan officer, the title
Yeah.
company, so on and so forth. So that is part of being great.
It is, but you're going to find that everybody may have different perceptions of you, and that impacts how they view you. It really is not anything to do with you. People bring a lot to the table when they start to engage, right?
So,
and that doesn't mean taking anything away from your professionalism or being the transaction being pleasant. I think that's where people get into. Did I get, like you took a chance and said, "Hey, Dr. Pope, come on live." You didn't know what I was going to say or do. But once you had the first experience, you judged that and you said, okay, now I like to further the relationship. It takes time to build that type of personality, but there was something about me that made you say, I'll like to engage with her I'll trust her at this with a live camera. I'll trust her to do that. I think that you have to give people an opportunity and then they either capitalize on it or they don't. But some people know this is not their platform. Right? This is not everybody's cup of tea, but it can be unpleasant if I was just quiet and sat here. It doesn't mean I'm not professional. It just means that's not my area. Yeah, I
can tell you we love you because you're willing to say all that you're willing to say on this commentary. So
right.
Thank you.
Now, I definitely, like I said, I hear what you're saying, but so I give David the opportunity, but in this particular profession, people's perception on the reality, no matter how, because don't forget they're the ones that's paying, so
yeah,
they're paying us. So
yes,
if, there's an old my mentor used to say, there was this woman, all she did was talk about cats, and and she was a customer. And my mentor was Mattress Mac. He said, well, he's like, somebody asked him, well, what you gonna do? He said, I'm gonna talk about cats.
Yeah. Well, now somebody just talked about Mattress Mac the other day that they didn't like his attitude. But again, Mattress been at that counter when you go to his gallery furniture. He been behind that counter saying, "Hey, how you doing?" For years. But that is his disposition, and you gotta either like him. Or you don't have to like him and get your frontage at the price you want it. See,
David, I'll let you go.
Too much investment into that part.
So here's the interesting thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
If you told me right now,
mm-hmm.
David, you have a choice. I have a client right now that wants to buy a house and they need a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
If you said I've got a 30-year veteran or a brand new agent about 6 months in, which one would you give to the client?
That's a good question.
I'm going to give them the 6-month person all day long. Every single time. Because 99% of the time, the longer someone is in the business, the faster they want to tell someone how long they've been in the business. And immediately, if I hear in the first 10 seconds of a call or a conversation, I've been in business for insert number, I already know we're never going to work together. Because you already are God's gift to real estate. Bow down and worship me. I am the most amazing realtor you've ever met. Come, bow at my feet. I will do anything and everything except not that, not that, not that, and this, and you have to do it this way. And I've never heard of that before. And why are you? So if that's the place you're coming from, is I've been in business for X amount of years and I have an ego, I'll be honest, nobody wants to play in the sandbox with you. Not me, not the title company, not the insurance agent, not anybody in this transaction. Now, the client may not know any different.
Mm-hmm.
But the 6-month-old realtor, they are going to be a totally different person. They're going to say, how can I help? How can I make this better? How can I make this easier for everybody involved? Can I communicate this? What do you need, David? What do you need, title company? What do you need, insurance agent? What do you need, client? Like, let me bend over backwards and find a solution to solve this thing. There's no ego. Now, here's the perfect balance. If you can find the 5, 10, 20-year veteran that has that 6-month-old agent mentality of, I still don't know it all. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. There's still opportunities for me to continue to make this better. So I'm going to be open to new ideas. If you can marry the two together, you found the perfect, like, golden circle, angle, whatever, triangle. You found that perfect agent. I only run into that 1 in 100 agents. I mean, most of them are egocentric or brand new, don't know what they're doing, or somewhere in between. But if you can find that perfect alignment of someone really good and experienced that has the humility, key point, humility, to be a servant leader to their clients, to their partners, to help as a team player, everything works beautifully, so well. But when you have a strong, egocentric, well-experienced realtor that wants to dictate everything involved, everything falls apart. And I don't think that many of these agents don't even realize it themselves, what's happening, what they're doing. So this video and the videos we're about to watch here in a second here or two that kind of highlight this point a little bit further is my main point. Is I don't understand why we have to do this dance. Why can't we just all be chill, be friends, and work together and be professional and kind? There's no reason not to.
I got a great story but I don't know. I want to keep the
No. Tell us the story, Brandon. We love stories, please.
Well, this one real quick. I actually told this story on a solo back in 22 on the Power of Ownership podcast. This was a solo show about a friend of mine at Gallery Furniture that left Gallery Furniture. He's probably one of the best salesmen I ever met. And then he went into door-to-door type sales. He went into like alarm sales. And dude, he's my size, even scarier looking at me, bald head. I mean, he looks like I don't know if you remember Zeus, Tiny Tim Lester. I think he passed away. He looks like looks like him, So I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if door to door. I wouldn't do door to door because I know they're not gonna let me in. They're gonna look at the written what do you want? So I'm like, I don't know, man. So, but after he left Gallery, he went to the job and he started knocking them dead at the so I had to ask him, like, man, how I had to pick his brain, like, I like excellence, like how you doing it? He said that he approaches every situation and gives it the benefit of the doubt. He approaches every situation fresh. He doesn't let anything cloud his judgment, and just goes in there and gives a great performance, and it works. So my mentor used to say, Mattress Mac used to say all the time, the older you get, to the piggyback your point, David, the more you get along the lines as far as sales, and the less your paycheck get, the more you start picking out flaws in people, the more you start giving them half fast performances, and that's the shorter your paycheck is going to get. So every person, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's called the fundamental attribution error. Most people make it, and they figure, this person, I'm judging them by their shirt. They ain't got no money. I'm gonna cut the corner. This person I could kind of talk down to because I've been in there so long, and like you said, and so they start limiting their performance, and which actually limits their paycheck.
People make judgment calls right away. Like
Right.
What's how old is this kid? What is he wearing? What are you doing?
Right.
Didn't I say that earlier?
Yeah. Brandon, you know what's funny is, as you know, we've talked offline about this. I still every single week am going door to door myself.
Door to door.
Yeah, every single week I do this door to door. But I want to point out, funny thing is, people have asked me what is the key to the success? Like what are you doing different? And it's the exact same thing you just
you do.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. A whole different topic. But
yeah, I just put the two and two together. Like that,
Yeah.
You do
here's the funny thing about me going door to door every single week is I even among my peers, I sometimes seem to have better success with that. And the funny thing is, the reason for it is same thing every time. Two things: have a smile on your face, and remember, why wouldn't they want to talk to me? Why wouldn't we want to have a conversation and be friends? Why wouldn't we want to just get to know each other and build a relationship? Like, why wouldn't you want to have that? If you go in with that mentality, same thing with real estate though. If somebody calls you or you're calling somebody else, client, professional, it doesn't matter. If you're going in with the mentality of, this is a new potential business partner or a new potential client or a new friend that can help me in the business. If you're going in with that mentality, the positive energy, why wouldn't they want to be friends and colleagues and partners with me? Kind of a mentality. It's a lot easier to build a relationship. Like Dr. Pope, if I called you out of the blue and said, hey, Dr. Pope, this is David. I love what you're doing online. I'm watching your social media. Like, this is so cool. Like, how long you've been in the business for? Like, I mean, it looks like you must have been in this a while. Like, I'm looking at your profile and like, I'm just excited about it versus, hello, Dr. Pope. This is David, and I'm calling as a mortgage professional, and I want to know if you want to have another mortgage lender to work with in your business for your clients. There's a different perception in the approach you take with the personality, and therefore tying back into this point, the likability. Smile, happy. Why wouldn't you want to work with me and Brandon and Dr. Pope? We love you guys. Come on in.
Now you're starting to cooking with grease. Now let's go. let's go to this next question before we get to the clip. In a business conversation, who has the responsibility to keep the interaction productive? The person asking the questions or the person answering them, or both? So I'll let y'all have first take at that.
I'll go first since she went last. So I think the person answering, you can never really control. You don't know who you're going to get as a person answering. They might be friendly. They might not. They might be knowledgeable. They might not be. Either way, if they're answering the question however they see fit, you cannot control that. But you can lead them well with good questions. Yeah. So if you ask a question and say, Dr. Pope, I ask you, so tell me about your income. Like, what do you make? And then you tell me, talking about the lending side, of course, like you tell me, well, I mean, like I make like, $500,000 a year, but I am self-employed. Question 2 then. Well, what do you actually show on your tax returns then after your profit minus losses? What's your net expense? Oh, well, my CPA actually is really good. Like, I actually think I show a loss, maybe 0. Good to know. Okay. So how long have you been doing that for? Well, it's been the last several years in a row. Okay. So we just discounted, wipe our hands clean of all qualified mortgage lending options because your CPA is amazing. Good job. Double-edged sword. You just cut off all your tax liability. However, you just killed yourself on the mortgage lending side for qualified mortgage lending. So that means we have to go non-qualified mortgage lending, which tells me what to do next.
Mhm.
So leading questions, you start, and then that leads to a whole nother series of questions if we were continue down that path, of course. But just using this as an example.
Yeah.
Ask good questions. The better questions you ask, the better the answers will be. And if you get an answer you're not really sure about, keep going. Keep inquiring. Be inquisitive about this. In fact, there's I forget, it's up there. The question, top corner right, it's hard to see, right there. The question behind the question. It's a good book. The question behind the question, because whatever the question someone else might ask of you, pivoting this, say the client asks you a question, what's the real question they're asking? When they say, what's the rate, as an example, what's their real question? The real question is, how much money am I going to spend?
Yeah.
What's my monthly payment? How much cash to close? It's money dollar driven. It's the rate. They don't care about the rate. They care about the dollars.
Yep.
So the reason they're asking that question is because of the underlying question of what are the dollars? But you have to work them backwards to the main question of, so we're talking about money here, right? So wouldn't it make sense to talk about the strategy that saves you the maximum amount of money versus what's the lowest rate you can possibly buy? Because that's completely two different things. So that's my thought process, is make sure you're asking the question reading into as best you can the question behind the question.
Gotcha. Dr. Pope, you want to take a quick stab at that?
Sure. And the question is, in a business conversation, who has the responsibility to keep the interaction productive? The person that wants to get to the end goal. So in the case that David said, he is the mortgage person. So his job is to get the person to answer all his questions so he can see if he can get them a loan or not, get them financing. So in my case, as the realtor, it's my job to be the one that is responsible for the productivity. Now, as I agree with everything else that David said, in that conversation, my job is to ask open-ended questions so I don't get yes or no, and I can get listen so I can see how I'm being directed and redirect conform my questions based on what I'm hearing and my responses I'm receiving from the potential client there. So my job is at the end is to be responsible for the productivity. Again, my job is to make sure I'm listening and paying attention to, as David said so nicely, what's not being said or what's not being said in a certain way, because with your experience, you start to learn. When people are asking about the interest rate, we know they'll pay a higher interest rate, but they're really asking, what's my payment? What's going to be my monthly payment? So I totally agree with him. You're listening, but I think at the end is the responsibility of keeping the conversation productive is always the person that has the end goal in mind. If I generated the conversation, I'm making a presentation, I want the conversation. I'm directing it. I'm guiding it to the end. That is my job. Or I'm coming out with a conversation. I don't want a conversation. I need a transaction to take place. There is an end goal.
And keep in mind, too, by the way, this doesn't just apply to clients.
No, it's everybody.
As we talked about earlier, this can apply to professional relationships as well, which is part of what we're focusing on here, is questions for you, say, Dr. Pope. Like if I'm reaching out to you and you're like, I've got 3 lenders already.
Uh-huh.
Well, great. If it's not me or Brandon, I already know you're missing about 100 things because there's nobody that has what we have.
Exactly.
But how do I ask the questions in the right way to get you to respond the right way? And then depending on your answers to that, how do I dissect that to break it down to make sure that it's clear of how and why there's nobody in the entire industry you should be working with other than Brandon and I in why this works the way it does. So there's a professional level to this in addition to the clients as well, I think.
Oh, of course. And it's not even all questions. Sometimes it's statements. is you making declarative statements. Okay, I'm an English teacher, so making a very conformed statement saying, like you just said, between us, you're missing a lot of things, and here's what the things you're missing. That's not a question. That's a statement telling me very clear definitions and ways that I can see that you're missing something with us. So persuasive rhetoric, you're persuading me in this conversation. So the productivity comes from our ability to be persuasive, to appeal to someone's logic, their emotions. It's our job to drive all of that in friendship conversations, professional conversations, transactional conversations. I think all of that is so important.
Yeah. By the way, for any realtors watching and yourself, my question that I actually ask every single time is, if you could wave a magic wand and fix any 1 to 10 things in your business today, what would you fix?
Yes.
That's my question every single time I meet with a realtor. And I almost always get the same top 3 to 5 answers. So I already know what they're going to say. But that is the question, is wave a magic wand, fix anything. What would it be? Go.
Are you asking me for real?
No.
Probably not on. Let's do that later.
No, I'm just saying that's a great way to get the client thinking about what they're missing, and then you go in with the solution, and that's what we're all trying to do.
As the largest mortgage brokerage in history, with more options than anybody that exists, almost times double our closest competitor, there's nobody that can compete. So I already know whoever I meet with and whoever Brandon meets with, we already know we've got everybody beat and then some in every single category, like it's a non-issue. But that said, I'm already convinced. He's convinced. We already know what we got. You need to be convinced. We got to make sure you understand it. So that's where statements don't work. Questions work better. But
I'm saying in the back of your mind, the rhetoric is already there, because you're already saying, I know we're the best. You're going in as the one who's responsible for the interaction and productivity. You're going in with the knowledge of saying, you're not coming in on a hypothetical. You're saying, here, we're the best, and we just want to ask this one question to get you to talking, and then we're going to answer and tell you why and how, these things. So but you're coming in with a statement. We are the best, because if you don't have the persuasive statement or belief, why are you there?
Well, yeah. And the great thing is we can prove it. Yeah. It's not even just the sales rhetoric. We can actually prove it. So
no. And that's the thing about the beauty of the conversation. And we say productivity is knowing how to get to the end. But I think the question was, who's responsible for that? And I'm saying we are. It's depending on whatever you're trying to do. You made the call, so you're responsible.
Absolutely.
Real quickly, so because I want to get to the clip real quickly, but I want to just say I think it's both, as far as in business conversations, both people's responsibility. Because even as a professional myself, they'll ask the questions, but it's my job to still pull out the meaning and pull out the productivity as a professional. So just to be great at what I do. So some people are not as articulate as me. So it's my job to pull out. All right. So do you mean such and such, such and such? Okay. Gotcha. So, all right. I'm kind of missing what you're saying. So are you saying this? So it's my job to pull out the productivity in the conversation if that person is not on my level as far as diction or speech or whatever. So everybody don't have a crucial conversation. I took the crucial conversation training, so a lot of people don't have that. So with that being said, let's go ahead into the next clip here. Hold on, I want to make sure it's the right one. I should have had them in order. Here we go. I found it. Y'all see the screen?
Yes,
sir.
Hello. Yeah, hi. Am I speaking to Alessandro? Yes, sir. How can I help you? Hi, my name is Frank. I'm a realtor. Listen, I'm looking at your property there on 8th Street, I think it's called. 8th Street. I have a guy who's interested. Can you give me a little bit more information about the property, please?
Yeah, Frank, absolutely. Thanks for calling. Frank, which property in particular? I have a couple of listings in that area. Which one are you referring to?
The one in Little Havana. The one in Little Havana.
Yeah, I heard that part, Frank, but which one? Where's the address? What's the address?
It's on 8th Street. It's in Little Havana.
I heard, Frank, I heard that. Which one? I have 20 listings in Little Havana. Which one are you referring to? Help me out here.
Hey, listen, I don't appreciate the tone that you're using. It's in Cayo Ocho, okay? 8th Street, Little Havana, Cayo Ocho. I mean, come on, how hard can it be?
Sir, once again, Frank, I don't know which one you're referring to. Is it the multifamily? Is it the retail? Which one is it?
Alessandro, listen, I've been a broker for 20 years, okay? This is very unprofessional. I mean, come on, how hard can it be?
Frank,
It's on 8th Street,
What's the
Cayo
address?
Ocho,
What is the address, Frank?
Little Havana.
That's not an address.
You know, I don't like this attitude. You know what? Good luck. Good luck to you. This is like very unprofessional. It's the first time I dealt with this type of thing, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Just give me the address.
You know what? Forget about it.
Unbelievable.
All right, so let me go first on since I went last time. This is what I mean by you gotta. If he was really, I think a lot of ego got into that conversation as well, because you could have easily said, all right, so I got, are you talking about the one at such and such 4554? Is that the one you're talking about? That's why I said you got to be able to pull stuff out of people if they're not as articulate. He might not know. This is your listing, so if you want to sell it, that could have been a full pop offer that hurt the client because you have you want to prove a point. Like, all right, which one? Are you flexing that you got 20 listings in that area? What are we doing right now? Because it's not the end goal, it's not the end goal is for both of us to make the transaction. He got a client, I got a listing. Let's go ahead and make this transaction. So that wasn't fruitful on either part, but let me ask the question here. And the next question is, when a business conversation starts to go sideways, what's most important, proving that you're right or getting the client to the finish line? So, and I'll go ahead and open it up from there. I yield the floor.
I've already answered it. Yeah. I've already said it. Getting the person to the finish line.
Right. Gotcha.
But I do think that in that clip, it was funny because both people were miscommunicating, right. and both had egos. But I think if the driver would have taken the time to maybe pull over, and then so he can focus on what is being asked of him, and then simply saying, "I'm not sure which listing, but I can get back with you to give me a chance to call you from the office. Give me, let me give you something. I can tell you about this, and this. Give a couple of some information so the caller, the mortgage guy with a broker would say, hey, you're listening and you're interested. You want to at least give them something there where you're respecting their time for calling and saying, hey, I want to communicate. I'm driving. Give them a reason why you're not as focused with the information so they can see that, hey, but I'm going to get back with you within, give me 30 minutes and I'm going to call you back. Let me get the information. So I think that could have at least took it, from sideways to at least a point of let's at least be able to talk again. But again, I think at the end, your job is as a realtor is to make sure you are trying to do your best. But in that conversation, I don't think either one of them were really being effective in their communication skills.
Right.
I'll be honest, I side far more with the guy in the car. Here's the key thing. He didn't lead with that. He only said, I have 20 listings after he asked for the address multiple times first. He wasn't leading with ego.
Nope.
Because that is the key difference. If like pretend I'm the person calling this person in the car and I say, I want to talk about your property. And he's like, I got 20 properties. Which one do you want?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? That's a different conversation than, oh, sounds great. Like, let's talk. And well, which address are you talking about? And then the one on that place. Well, can you just tell me the address, please? Okay. Still, can you please tell me the address? Can you please tell me that? Like, I just want to know which one it is. And then he has to say, listen, I have 20 properties listed in this area.
Well, let me push back. Didn't you, if after the first, second, third time that didn't work, why wouldn't you rephrase that into something that possibly will work? You see, that was a stalemate. You as the actual communicator.
Right.
Why would you? All right, I see that with address that's not working. That's where I think the ego.
Yeah. So to your point, Brandon, to your point, absolutely not handled the best.
Right.
But I completely understand where his thought process was of he wasn't leading, and this is what I respect. He wasn't leading with ego. He was trying to be helpful until ego came into the picture, and then he started pushing ego back. That's where it kind of fell apart. So as soon as he realized the guy doesn't know the address, clearly he doesn't have it in front of him. Say, listen, how about this? Listen, just so you know, I'm driving right now. I don't have my information in front of me, but could I give you a call back in like 30 minutes or so? If you pull up the address for me, I'll be happy to have a conversation. We'll talk about this more, and I'll get you all that info that you want, because then I'll be in front of my computer and I can actually show you or tell you whatever it is you need to know. Like something to that effect, because that's how I would have handled it, right or wrong. That's how I would have handled it, is just I'll be back at my laptop soon to be able to explain what you need to know.
Gotcha.
Just a thought.
So David agreed with what I just said.
Yes, Dr. Pope, yes, I just agreed completely.
Gotcha.
You know, my wife makes fun of me. She's like, so you just said in like 1,000 words what I just said.
Right.
Which, funny enough, is Brennan and my only back and forth that we do on this show of like, David, you gotta shorten this thing up, man.
Right. Well, that's a new subliminal. When I take the question off, that means wrap it up.
Gotcha. Well, now I know. Good to know.
All right, so let's go to the next one right here. When a business deal falls apart, what reveals a person's true character? The deal itself, or how they handled the conflict afterward? So, I'll go ahead and open the floor for that.
I have one right now where the situation is it's not unsolvable. Like, we're probably going to close just fine. It just requires an extension of the contract. The listing agent, funny enough, cool as a cucumber. Everything's amazing. Like, no problem. Got it. Understand. Been through this before. We'll let the sellers know. No problem. The buyer's agent representing the clients, my partner here. Why is this happening? Why did you give a pre-approval if they weren't really pre-approved? And what's happening? Why are we delayed? And doesn't understand what's happening. And I've explained it, but she's listening to mentors telling her, well, that's unacceptable. That shouldn't be happening. And she's hearing advice from other people, I think, that is causing her to react negatively, even though there's nothing negative about this. And we're all on the same page otherwise, other than the realtor. Everybody else, the clients, the listing agent, the processor, the title company, everybody's on board. Even the other parties on the other side of the transaction of the sellers buying another house are cool with it. Everybody's cool, except the buyer agent that doesn't understand the situation. So I strongly believe it is the character of the person that matters when it comes to when conflicts arise, when problems happen. How are you going to solve this? How are you going to handle the situation? Are you going to listen and follow through on being coachable and working as a team? Or are you going to insist on, well, this is my way or the highway. I have my focus. I have my mentality, my vision. And if it's not working out, this reflects on me. So because it's my ego, again, coming in, if it reflects on me poorly, I'm going to fight this and try to make everybody else look bad because I want to look good and throw everybody else under the bus. And that's just, in my personal opinion, not Cool. The best realtors are team players.
Right. Well, I'll answer this, and I'll let Dr. Pope get the anchor before we do the actual clip here. When the time of panic, you're always going to resort back to your training. You know, so when you're in the time of the heat of the moment, it's what have you done in repetition. You know, so if you have no training, like this particular agent, they're going to react probably emotionally because you don't know how to handle the situation. You know, so that's the thing about working with some agents. You know, so they think they're supposed to act a certain way. It's called being pretentious, right? And you know, they don't know, like, all right, how can I get you to how can I get my point across without friction? You don't have that training. You know, and there's a way to be direct, there's a way to be stern, and I can still be nice, you know, about it. So, but if you don't have that training, you don't know what you don't know, right? You know, so, but in a time of conflict, people are going to resort back to their training. So to answer the question, it's always about how you handle the conflict afterward, because you could close a deal. I've closed a deal before, and then I said I'll never work with this realtor ever again. You know, so the deal itself, you know, that person calls the, you know, I played a conversation for you a couple months ago. Like I gave a referral, like, all right, you're not getting no more referrals from me, you know. So, but the deal itself, yeah, you won the battle, but you lost the war. You won, yeah, but you know, in the end, you don't know how much money it cost you, you know, long term by how you handle the situation. So
sometimes it can save money too, though. I mean, great example.
On our end, yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, great example is not naming names here, but I just had a realtor recently join our BDM program, which we're going to talk about here in a second here, but join and then quit before the deal even closed. So now I can't, like, legally, I can't pay the person the $1,000 or whatever that I wanted to pay the guy. I can't do it because he wanted more money than what was actually owed, and then threw it all out the window and said, I don't want to do this, because he didn't understand the concept, the process, the flow of everything involved. And again, ego comes into play sometimes of, I know what I'm doing. I want to do it this way. I demand these certain things. If we're dealing with that situation, it makes it a lot harder. So for any realtors watching, please, let's not fight. Let's be on the same team. Let's get this together. And if we help the clients, we all make more money together. I know, in one ear out the other. Like, everybody says this, right? Like, oh yeah, we're totally cool. Like, you say that, but let's actually get a deal going, and then we'll see how it goes.
Dr. Pope said it earlier today. There's not a lot of, I took the course on my phone, and I went there and passed the test without studying. You don't need, it's not a lot to get a real estate license. You know, so, you know, a lot of people come from all different walks of life and stuff like that. They don't have the technique. They don't have the skills, the soft skills, hard skills. So the cream always going to rise to the top. So our job is, you know, as professional, is to, your vibe is your tribe. Find people that you can vibe with, that has synonymous service that you have. You know, other than that, it's
arguably too, if you have time or no time in the business and you just passed your test, that is a reason why some of the realtors especially like to say, I've been in business for insert years, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. They want to make sure they're known as professionals, which makes sense. Like, I say the same thing. Brendan, you say the same thing too. Like, you've been doing this for, you know, however many years, same as me.
Yeah.
We say this intentionally because we want to make sure the clients know and the professionals know we are qualified. That's the key. You can trust us because we know what we're doing. But arguably, if you lead with, I have hi, my name is David, and I've been in business for X amount of years in the first few seconds. That's not qualifying. That's egocentric.
Gotcha,
And that's a different mentality that you have, and your clients are going to take that differently, and your professionals are going to take that differently. And if you tell me that, I already know we're never going to work together because you're never going to learn anything new. I can't teach you anything. I can't teach an old dog, new tricks.
Right. Dr. Pope, I want to give you the last anchor before we go into the next clip here real quickly.
Well, I think y'all answered that one pretty good. I agree with everything y'all said on this one. Conflict it's about your character. And like you said, it's hard to change your character, and it normally manifests when conflict arises.
Gotcha. All right, let's go to this next clip here. Let me know when y'all can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
I can see it.
All right.
You have to have. I mean, at the end of the day, we just go to court, and I will hire a real estate attorney.
That is totally fine because he signed multiple contracts.
And I feel like because he's an elder, somebody has to honestly. You can tell me all day long you're not a wholesaler. I feel like that's bullshit. You was actually going to resell the home.
No, I was not. I had my whole loan documents. If you want to see my loan terms and my loan documents for that property that was already drafted up. This was not a wholesale deal.
If he signed multiple contracts, why didn't you not take him to court at that time?
Because why would I spend $1,000 in court? That doesn't make sense. Title can't even get clean anyway.
So you don't even have an amount for your lien. You can't that that $7,500 is just a number off the top of your head. Why would I give you additional $7,500? That don't even make sense. As a buyer.
You're an agent, so I'm assuming you know how memorandums work, right? Once again, the seller did shady activity and signed multiple contracts while being under contract with me. Therefore, I'm going to place a lien. I'm just saying, I am not someone who gets over on people. I do good business, but when people do bad business, this is what happens. You can't just go sign multiple contracts. You know that. You're an agent. You can't do that.
But I know that. This is like you got backdoor. I gotta respect that. That's something that I can do.
I feel I did get backdoored. I was under contract with when other buyers were sending me the house as if it was theirs. I got backdoored. There's no overcomplicating that. He signed multiple contracts. It is what it is. He said, no, I will release it. But yes, I want to be compensated because I was wrong. We can go to court. I'm telling you.
That's fine.
What is
Gotcha. I wanted to make sure y'all hear the beginning. So let me pose the question and I'll let y'all go in on it. When someone wrongs you in business, where do you draw the line between protecting your rights and protecting your reputation? So I'll open the floor. Y'all want to digest that clip real quickly and go into the question here. And not all at the same time.
You can always go first too, Brandon, if you want to.
Right. Well, I always have,
well, hey, do me a favor on this particular one. Honestly, can you start us off on this one because I'm not really sure what you're looking for on this particular clip.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
So a lot of people, we're talking about ego. We're talking about communication skills. In this particular clip, he's placing a lien because that person had multi contracts on the. He had a contract, and then somebody else, he put a contract on the same house. So now he's placing a lien on the actual property, So, and what I'm saying is I know it's his right to place a lien, but however, is it an ego thing where he's trying to, hey, I want to be compensated. She's saying 7,500. Where are you getting that number from? He just made that number up. So, and is it more about protecting your rights, or is it more about protecting your reputation? Is it ego? Like, hey, I got to get you because I can't feel that anybody could mess over me, type thing. So that's where do you draw the line? So that's kind of where the question is.
That helps a lot. Thank you for the foundation of that point. Right. Funny enough, I don't know if everybody here realizes that you can put a lien against any property out there. You can go file with the county, like put a lien against any property anywhere and say, I'm owed this money, and they have to defend this in court if you want to go back and forth on this, which is what we run into with mechanics liens and that kind of thing too, where you have like say you had your roof done and then you never paid the contractor, well, they can put a lien against your house and say, hey, you don't owe us now. Like, you're not going to pay us now. But if and when you sell your house, you're going to owe us then out of the proceeds. So this lien, which is why you have first mortgage position, second mortgage position, third, fourth, fifth, like you can have different people in line to take advantage of your equity when you go to sell. So when you do this, this is part of why, again, I can imagine the frustration here in this conversation in this video of there's a lien suddenly created, potentially, on this property that makes it so that the seller now has to deal with this situation. Agreed, if you're a really good realtor and you want to manage your reputation and handle this right, I'm going to argue, depending on the size of the situation, of the lien, you might want to just let it ride and just keep going with it. Like, let it ride. Don't mess with it. But if you know there's no chance of getting your money back, there's nothing that's going to ever work out from this thing, there's no chance of this working out, you got to do that thing, well, then so be it. I mean, that's why this exists in the first place, is you can put a lien against a property. That's why these laws are in place. So this guy here doing what he's doing, obviously the realtor is not happy about what he's doing here. Agreed. But could he have handled it differently? Yes. It's hard to know, though, without knowing his circumstances. Because if he is a, wholesale personal buyer, it's his house, it's his reputation, it's his own stuff, that's different than if he's representing buyers too.
No, I think it was she was trying to accuse him of being a wholesaler, and he said, "No, I have my actual loan documents. This was
okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, Dr. Pope, you want to take a stab at that real quick? And
I think I agree with David on this one too. I think it does matter when it says, where do you draw the line between protecting your rights and protecting your reputation? I don't think this was a reputation. I think this is ethics. This is an ethics question. You have a seller that's signed several contracts and they're not honoring what they said they were going to do. And I see I guess the realtor is saying, hey, somebody owes me for my time and my effort. Now, we all know that at the end of the day, nothing happens until it gets to closing. And even that's not guaranteed until it's closed. But I think, as David said, there is a way to think about how do you want to handle it. It's long-term. As he said, he didn't want to go to court and spend a lot of money with lawyers. So that was his way of trying to get his money. I think he wasn't worried about his reputation. I think he's worried about his income. And so I think when we look at things, where do I draw the line between protecting my right as a realtor? Sometimes I may have to eat some things. I may have to walk away, from this deal in order to, and maybe if I handle it right, maybe someone will say, okay, because you mentioned earlier too, where is the arbitrary number coming from? So if it's not, although he signed the seller signed multiple contracts, I'm assuming that's where he got the 7,500 from. I'm not sure, but maybe that was the commission off of the deal. Maybe they can give him a little less. He can take less percent for the time, but really he's not technically owed. So for me, I would have to go ahead probably and walk away from this one. Ethically, I would let it be known I'm not happy how they handled me in that situation, but I don't think I want to put the lien on and all of that. Again, it, like David said, it depends on, maybe they've been at this for a year or two. I don't know how long they've been in the deal, but if it's short, I would rather walk away. I'd rather keep my reputation as being someone that understands that I can make money. I can find other ways to solve the problem. Maybe I could also work with the lady on the phone. They seem like they were a little heated too. Maybe they needed. I would also look at that. I may not ever want to do another deal, as y'all mentioned earlier, with this person again. Sometimes you just, once again, the character of a person, You have to say, okay, let me assess if this is all worth my time and effort. So I don't know if it's, where do you draw the line? I draw the line between saying how much this is going to cost me in my spirit, my energy, and my money, and how much would it to nip it in the bud and move on. How much can I move forward and do other things with my time and energy? That's what I would factor into that. But I agree with David on the way he said it. And I agree with you when you mentioned earlier, sometimes there may be other factors that are there. I don't think everything is ego. I think sometimes it's money. It is based on pure, I need the check. And to feel wronged by someone is a horrible feeling when you put the time in. And that's the other side of real estate that a lot of people don't like. It's a lot of things that go on, and people do take them to court. The bigger the deal, the more money at risk, people will get a lawyer. But doing a lien, as you said earlier, is that the best way to handle it? Maybe not. But I would not choose that as my route of protecting my rights.
Yeah, I think that was like a red herring. He was throwing that out there to try to scare him, to try to get him. Yeah. All right, I here goes a couple $1,000, go away. That's what he was hoping. I think if he would approach it different, I think he would have probably got that. Instead of being, again, we talking about being less abrasive. Yeah, so it's about the crucial conversation. He just didn't have it. He kind of, you kind of went with fire, and then you got met with fire, and so it just went up in flames from there. So and you're probably not going to get anything, because he said it himself. She said, get an attorney. It's going to take, thousands of dollars, maybe tens of thousands of dollars to litigate this, So.
And sometimes it's just not worth that price.
Right. So, but you pulled your ace right there.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna litigate, all right, what we doing now? Go ahead and go file an attorney because you're not getting anything.
Yeah, you gotta be backing yourself in the corner is not always the best way when you're trying to come up with a solution either. But I think I have, and I'll just say this: I've dealt with as a person who was looking for a realtor, and I remember they tried to charge me, and they had never done anything. They didn't sell me any property, and I had to tell them I was going to file a complaint. And when I said that, then they gave me my money. Because I wrote a check, and I was like, I shouldn't have to pay them anything, and I felt really bad about it. And so then I thought about it, and I went back over there, and I said, hey, I'm going to file a complaint because you didn't really do anything for this $500, and I don't owe you any money. And so they gave me back my check. So it's a lot of unethical realtors out here. So you do have to watch people. So I understand the ethics of it, but again, knowledge, as he said, everybody both of them were agents. They understood what was at stake. So when you have someone that's knowledgeable of the whole process, I think I can understand his willing to put the lien or put out, they said, red herring to kind of push her a little bit more, maybe because he knew she was an agent, but I think it could have been handled differently. And if you notice, you're giving us all these scenarios, people are driving. When you're driving, that is not the time to make these kind of crucial negotiations and decisions.
I call it windshield time. I do some of my best, most of my, because don't forget Houston's an hour away from Houston, right? So
it is, but not for that kind of a deal. You have to. That's when you got to say, "Let me call you back."
I think I pushing back a little bit in defense of Brandon too. Like I think honestly, like we have to have that windshield time sometimes, but there's certain things you can only do at the office, like in the two videos before, where he's like, well, which property? Just say like, hey, when I get to my spot,
that's what I said.
Let me look up the property for you, and then problem solved, right?
Yeah, I agree with y'all. And I do a lot of stuff in my car too, but I think sometimes certain deals at this level, when we're talking about protecting your reputation or your rights, you need to be level-headed. And when it's already got you heated, what is it? Literally heated. And then you're mentally, extreme there. You might need to say, okay, wait, let me call you back when I'm at a stationary place, because then I can think better. I can think with it, and then your solution, or you get more solutions when you're not all revved up, when you're not all That's right.
I love that your point on this point of just we need to take a step back sometimes.
Yeah.
What? Let me if I don't know the answer now, immediately let me just take a step back. Let me call you back in a few minutes, and then we solve for it.
But,
and I have done that many a time, and it's so much better because you can collect yourself.
Yeah.
Just I'm okay. Now make the call.
Because that goes back to what Brandon is saying. If you're perceived to be a hothead and not able to allow another person to have some leeway, maybe you're not that way, but you're not in the right position, and you're not thinking because you're pulling out all your cards because you're revved up. So it's like, yeah, let me take a time out on this one. I may need to call my team, and say, hey, what would you do?
Why not call her broker? Why you just if you're not getting the solution that you want, you need to talk to our broker.
Well, but I feel like that's an ego play though that could create more animosity with the situation if you push it that far that fast. So there's
a conflict. That's who you need to talk to. You need to talk to the broker.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
because that's who you work. That's who she's working for. At the end of the day,
you need to talk to the broker. Hey, this what happened. I got back doing on a particular.
I already know we have a video coming up on this exact point.
Right.
But I want to make sure that it's clear. Like, it depends on the situation. Like, there's not necessarily a reason to escalate all the time to the broker. Like, hey, we have a problem. They're not advising us the way we want, so we're just gonna go upgrade to the broker, and that's not how you want to run the.
She put her foot down. Go get an attorney. Go get an attorney. That's what she said. Go get an attorney.
They're at a point where they're at an impasse.
In this situation, yes, absolutely.
All right. So let's get to the next one real quick, because we do have. We got 4 clips left, and I want to we get into the meat here. The first 3 or 4 the play up, then we really get to the meat. And I want to talk about BDM before we get to the actual meat of it. So when a customer has a bad experience, who's really responsible? The employee or the leader who built the culture? So now we're taking it to more of a team thing. So
it depends on the team structure. Some teams have a leader with a very specific structure. Others, real estate, mortgage, doesn't matter. Whatever context we're talking about here, they have a very basic understanding, and then everybody do your thing.
Okay.
So I think it depends on the model that they're coming into. Is the person that they're aligning or hitching their wagon to at the top leading them? Or is it just, hey, come on my team and then go nuts, do real estate, go do mortgages, and hopefully you do well. And there's not really any conversation about this. There's no team structure. There's no regular communications. There's no training. There's nothing.
Gotcha.
That's the difference.
I'm gonna refer to the movie Bug Life. There was a movie that came out in the 90s here.
The dog. I love that movie.
Bug's Life.
Bug Life, but the bugs.
Oh, the bugs, even better. Right. I know that one even better. Perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
So there were, and it was about these bugs, and the queen got kidnapped, right, or something to that effect, and then they had a new queen that was taking place, and something went wrong in a hive or something, and she was like, "Yeah, well, it's really not my fault."
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, wrong. In management, everything's your fault."
Yep.
And I took that at the time. I was my first job coming out of college. I was a manager at Aaron's. I worked my way up to regional manager, and that stuck with me. This is 30 years later. In management, and especially when you own your own business, everything is your fault. You're ultimately responsible for everything that goes on, because this is your vision, this is your culture. You're the pace setter. So if you got an employee that tolerates or gives you your customers a bad experience, whose fault is that? Because I talked about this earlier. When in the time of panic, the time of conflict, they're going to resort back to their training. So that means you didn't train them properly to handle this particular situation. And I'll say this, and I'll go ahead and yield the floor. A few years ago, the Patriot. I know you, Dave, you're not into sports that much, but the Patriots won.
Whatever you're naming, I have no idea. I'll just check out.
The Patriots won the Super Bowl on the last.
I'll just check out right now.
Yeah. Right. The Patriots, this was about 10 years ago, actually. This is a while back. The Patriots won the Super Bowl on the last play. And the guy, instead of running beast mode, you know, when Seattle played instead of running beast mode, Russell Wilson threw an interception. And they interviewed the guy at the end of the play, and he said, how did you, take us through what was thinking? It's like, yeah, I've seen the formation, and we've seen this 1,000 times in practice, so I already knew what he was going to do. So I took that as well. Like, man, when you have this repetition in these situations, if you practice role play, when that time comes, you know what to do to keep the deal from going sideways or the conversation from going sideways. So it's about you setting the pace, you getting enough reps instead of, hey, cooler talk. You need to be training your people.
And Marshawn is still mad about that. He's still mad.
Right. So yeah, I couldn't believe it too. I was like, yeah, they about to win it, and like they threw the ball. I couldn't believe that. But yeah, I mean, but he said he's seen it 1,000 times in practice.
Yeah,
And
then he was mad because Wilson didn't accept his part in that.
Right.
But it goes back to I agree with everything you just said. I just feel like we have to also acknowledge that employees, or even if you trained, you can still give a customer a bad experience because the customer is just not happy. So I'm not saying that I'm saying the employee can be the catalyst of the bad experience, and it may fall back on training. It may fall back, and yes, it ultimately is always the boss. It's ultimately, I've been a principal, I've been the counselor, I've been all of it, and I'm the boss now. And so I'm not eating, that's me. My employee, they don't care about that part. They're there to do whatever you say for them to do. But sometimes people come in, and there's this big thing, and I don't want to make it too tense, but the 75-year-old lady went into she got a bad coffee, whatever. She went in to talk about it, and she had a bad attitude. That she got in a 17-year-old's face, and then it escalated to the lady had a heart attack. Now she got in a fight with the 17-year-old. Everybody's divided, but it goes back to you, the customer, can be mad, but they can escalate something too. So it's not always falling back on training. It does, though, culture, how we handle things. It can be trained, and like you say, repetition, but you can have outliers or bad days or different things happen. We all have to know that it's all of our role. And once an employee there's a bad experience and it is the employee's fault, you retrain them. You give them, like I say, more practice time, more experience to do better. You don't cancel the employee. It's an opportunity for growth. But now we're having so many variables with people, again, with mental health issues and anger. There is no room anymore for the bad experience. People, my daughter brought up one of her former employees went online and gave a bad review to the place where she works. That's a salty review. That's not even legit. But the customers, the people who read the reviews, don't know that. So certain things we have to give a little leeway. That bad experience is not always the client's fault, the employee's fault. But as you said earlier, the leader of the organization has the ultimate responsibility to train the employees, to teach them, to set the tone, keep the culture going, to know how to come in and say, okay, we made a mistake, we dropped the ball, try to smooth it over. Some customers, you can't smooth it over. Some customers, you can't fix it. But it is ultimate, like you said, the leader's responsibility to make sure that the employee know where they went wrong, the team can grow from it, and things can be better. But I think
a key point here is, why is it being escalated? That's a key point. Why is it being escalated? If you can read into that, why is this happening? You can solve it. If you don't understand the why behind it, you're kind of guessing. that makes it a lot harder. So if you can read into why is it escalating, what is the emotion behind this, what's driving this, you can make this a lot easier for everybody involved, including yourself, and knowing how to handle it.
Now, David, I'm going to say this. We're not in the customer service thing. I used to work at McDonald's, and I'm going to tell you something, and we've been seeing that. There's a lot of people now who just feel entitled to just come in your business and tear it up. Just no boundaries anymore. So it's getting to the point, even in fast food, I'm really beginning to wonder, after a while, with all the lawsuits coming out, Waffle House, the reputation is now known to be a place to go for fights.
Right. But let me push back on that. How many fights have they had at Chick-fil-A?
Well, again, the customer service, the customer service is not the place for it. They haven't had it that we know of, because everything don't make the news certain places. But they did go wrong on some other customer service issues, right?
Right.
They have a thing about the LGBT community. So they got their flaws. They have problems too, but they're not known for fights.
Arguably, anybody in customer service in the fast food industry, I'm just going to say respect to that, because that is probably one of the best foundations you can have in sales, to understand exactly what we're talking about here.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's just not the employee's fault. Sometimes it's not even the training. It's just now we're in a different era. As y'all said earlier, you can't bring up Jordan, like I said, 30 years ago. But today, our customers are different. It is still the ultimate responsibility of the leader who builds the culture. But sometimes a customer can have a bad experience at different levels, and they're already angry when they get to you. We do have to look at that.
Gotcha. Let's go ahead and run the clip here, and then let's go ahead and react to it real quick. All right, I got it.
We are no longer moving forward. When we showed up, Jonathan was there, and it just became incredibly uncomfortable. He brought up the furniture, how they loved the couch, and he made a comment along the lines of, "You won't be able to afford that." It was so unprofessional. They were just completely turned off and offended. They really liked their time with you, but then once he stepped in that door, it completely changed everything for them.
I don't know what to say to you, to be honest. First, I'm sorry and incredibly frustrated.
I am as well. I mean, this was the perfect place for my clients. And
it still could be. It's still there. I'll beat you there, or we can sell it right now.
They specifically said, we do not want to do a deal with Sirhan.
When you're the tip of the spear and you're building the company, all the entrepreneurs listening to this right now, you get it. You got to take that on the chin. There's no excuse to be made. It's your company. It's your employees. It's your culture. And my understanding is that he fired that agent after that, and he rightfully should have done that. But the other thing too that's worth noting for anybody here, one of my favorite Bible verses, Proverbs 22:1, it says, "A good name is of greater value than great riches." You've probably been this place where you either spent money with somebody, and at the end of the day, they got your money, but they lost their reputation in the process. There is nothing more valuable than having a good reputation. Literally nothing. Because you can sacrifice some short-term money right now, but if you do the right thing, it's always going to come back to reward you in the end. Treat people respectfully, treat people kindly. I'll tell you what, let me just say this. Politeness, kindness, respect, honor never goes out of style. Always treat people that way, regardless of how much money they make.
Yeah, I got a chance to watch that episode with Sirhan, and that goes back to what David's been saying a lot tonight about ego. That agent was, he had a lot of ego. He was something else. Now, of course, again, I don't think you're going to be in sales business if you don't have a little ego. Now, but I'm talking about his was, like I say, he was toxic when he walked in rooms anyway. But I felt that's a good video, because I started to say that we were talking earlier about how you can lose business again with the wrong employee, or with an employee who doesn't understand the value of respecting people. And there, like I say, you can't fix that. You can't fix that, because that's a total different thing than a fast food. But this is definitely different from coming in, as David said, with a toxic behavior, very ego driven, not understanding that even your demographic in luxury, of course they can afford it. He wouldn't have dealt with anybody who couldn't afford whatever they were showing him. That was the understatement of life there. But if you saw the guy, he had tattoos. He didn't look like a typical realtor anyway. But again, we can't, like you say, judge all these books by their covers, because he still could have been professional, even though he didn't look a certain way. He was just snobby. He was snobby all the way. He had other problems he was displaying along the way in that at the agency. So that was a good clip to show to bring home your point of if it's the employee or the leader, because I don't think Sirhan had that culture there. That was that guy's his attitude that lost that business.
Right. But ultimately, I think it still was his responsibility. The question is, at what point does protecting your reputation become more valuable than protecting your revenue? It's always and I hate to I always bring this up, but this is calling for this conference, this particular Scarface. You know, I'm not really. I hadn't. I don't want to be stereotypical, but I hadn't watched Scarface till I was in my 20s. But the thing that he said, that all I got is my bees and my word. Right?
I thought you was gonna say Negroes and flies.
No, but he said, all I got is my bees and my word, you know, and he was talking about something else. But what I took that to mean is that all he has is his gumption and his reputation, right? That's what you know, that's at the end of the day, that's all you got, right? You got your assertiveness and you have your reputation.
Yeah.
You know, so and that could build businesses. So, you know, if the revenue always could make money. Always could make money. You know, so if I lose that deal, that's fine. But that reputation, you could tarnish a reputation in a matter of, you know, a couple of weeks. And it took you decades to build. You know, so it could all come crumbling down. You know, so you protect your reputation at all costs, and that's one of the 48 laws of power as well, right? Protect your reputation at all costs.
I think that's true, but sometimes, and you know, right now, and I'm gonna just put it out there, y'all may not feel comfortable saying it, but we have now some people have not carried that. Some people don't care about their reputation. Some people,
especially in 2026, right?
Yeah, it has become now a total different thing about our ethics. So I'm gonna say that yes, I agree with you. You protect your reputation, but now it's almost, what reputation are you protecting? I think that's so important for us to say as business owners, because as you know, we're all independent contractors. And so when you look at it, like you say, your ethics, it definitely will tell your clients and the people you work with in different areas that who you are. And you do want to keep that. Now, I say that knowing I don't have to say, but I got Scarface, other Scarface things I could pull out the hat.
Right. That was the one that stuck with me right there.
But I got your point. Right. And I like the fact, you know, I'm a big Tupac fan. I know you wouldn't thought it, I know, but I like Tupac. And again, a lot of people have this concept that he was just all out there crazy. But one thing he was consistent on, whatever he said, he meant. And that is important. If you're telling someone you're a person of character and integrity and they want to trust you with their business, you need to be that person. And you need to be that when no one's watching and when the whole world sees you all over your platforms. It is so important to know that. But I'm questioning people's reputation right now, because some people are very proud to be, but they don't want diversity. They don't want different thoughts. They don't want different people with different views, different values. And I think people are trying to figure out, how do you still walk that fine line and stay in the lines of what's being out there now and keep your core. I don't think it's as easy as we have as it used to be. I'm gonna just say it that way.
Gotcha.
I think the question could be changed to, at what point does protecting your reputation become more valuable than protecting your ego versus revenue? Because
money speaks louder, David, than your ego.
I know, but here's the thing. So we're talking about the scenario here. Now, I'm going to argue this is one of, keep in mind, if you don't know who this guy is that we just watched here, and I apologize, I forget the name of the person right now, but he is one of the top real estate agents in the country.
Okay.
So, whole nother level, billions of dollars he's done in real estate. Like, not a small.
Are you talking about Sirhan or the guy who spoke after?
The guy who's in the car that she's talking
That's
to.
Ryan Sirhan. Okay,
that guy is one of the top real estate agents in the country in New York. So,
in Texas
if
now,
somebody on his team opened up a house, that means that person is highly qualified, or else this guy would not have him on his team.
Yes.
So, arguably, I'm going to say this guy's not necessarily bad. It's just he said the wrong thing at the wrong time in the wrong place to the wrong people. And he made them feel bad. It was an emotional thing. It wasn't a logic. It wasn't a transaction. It wasn't an anything else real estate related. It was an emotional feeling of this person said, I don't know if you can afford that. And maybe it came from a good place even. Maybe I'm playing devil's advocate. Maybe the guy was thinking, like, listen, I know you.
Maybe he was joking, you mean?
No.
I'm saying maybe he knew. We don't know exactly. Maybe up front he knew what the client's situation was, and he said, you know what? I don't know if you can afford this because of this. We don't know. Like,
yes,
we don't know because we're only watching the video through the lens of this interaction, right?
Well, I watched the whole episode. Oh,
right. right. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm only watching this through that lens. I'm just saying, if the guy hired was on this guy's team, he must have been good, or the guy wouldn't have hired him. But he missed a very big opportunity here of helping the family because he said something egotistical, something that kind of degraded the clients in.
That goes back to your unprofessional. That's the unprofessional. That wasn't
right.
He was not on his money on that, and yeah.
Let me say this: the reason why I'm kind of serious and I have a serious undertone when I speak, and I'm very like a professor like when I speak, because my sense of humor, I have very dry sarcasm, about myself. I have a witty, most people, something I find funny wouldn't be that, funny to most people, because I have a dry, sarcastic sense of humor, so it can come off-putting. So what I try to do, I try to keep it vanilla. I know this about myself. It's awareness. So I wouldn't joke, even though he probably was. It sounded like he was joking. Man, you can't afford that right there.
He wasn't.
Right. He was saying it serious. I didn't watch.
Yes. So. He was a model, and he was very arrogant all the way through the show.
So you saw this entire episode?
Yeah. Yes.
True. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was on Netflix, so
that's
you can
the
watch the whole episode.
that we're having, I think.
Yeah, he was just the guy. He had neck tattoos. He was a model. He rode a bike. He had a different, like a bravado. Nothing wrong with that though, right? He had swagger, but he was very condescending. And even when Ryan talked to him about it, he didn't see where he was wrong.
Gotcha.
Well, and then like I said,
understand how that cost Ryan millions. And Ryan doesn't deal in people who can't afford. That's this understanding. They wouldn't have showed you a couple of $1 million property if you couldn't afford it. They vet the people before they get to the building.
Yeah.
Right.
Good call.
Yeah. So, but yeah, let's go ahead to the next question. So before we get to the next question, let's go over, because now we're about to get to the meat. I later say the last couple of clips to the meat. We're making good time. We if we could get these through real quick, we're making good time.
He's talking to us, David. He's talking to us.
I know. He's talking to me, by the way. Not you. He's talking to me.
You have a partner in crime tonight, so
David, shut up. Don't go too long.
You too, Dr. Pope.
So let's talk about the BDM real quick, because we got a BDM clip, and this is for people that want to, make a side hustle. Because don't forget, in today's economy, you got to have more than one fire in the burner, so to speak, right?
Mhm.
So this is what this is. You can't just have one thing. You got to have revenue coming from all angles, and this is the perfect way for you to get some extra revenue. You want me to roll a clip first, David? Then you
let me give a quick intro as well. So and then we'll roll the clip. So for anybody watching, if you scan the QR code at the top right, we're going to play the clip first, but we'll play this afterwards. This is another way you can make income, like Brandon said, with our company. You do not have to be a licensed mortgage professional. You have the ability to make income with us by simply helping us promote the company, the model, and getting more families help with their real estate financing. So we'll roll the clip. Afterwards, we can talk about it briefly of what the next steps are if you're interested.
Gotcha. If you're a realtor and you're not getting paid for the mortgage conversations you're already having, we need to talk. You're speaking to buyers, sellers, past clients, your sphere every single day. And every time financing comes up, you're creating opportunity, but you're earning zero from it. At Nexa Lending, we've built a compliant business development manager program that lets you get paid for the business you generate without becoming a loan officer. No licensing, no quoting rates, no collecting docs. You simply connect people. We handle the mortgage. You get paid as a W-2 business development employee. Refinances, your CRM, your sphere, other agents you introduce. You're already creating the business, now you monetize it. If you're serious about adding a real additional income stream this year, click the link, message me directly, and let's get you activated in under 10 minutes.
So as the video explains, it's that easy. Now, granted, realtors are kind of the automatic next step because you're already dealing with families that are looking to buy, sell, refinance properties, but anybody can do this. In fact, the top person at our company, I believe, that's doing this still to this day is a young kid social media influencer in California. So nothing to do with real estate at all. If you have interest in earning a part-time income, it's an hour maybe to onboard after you've gone to the class of just learning how this thing works. So if you have more questions, you want to learn how this works, scan the QR code, reach out to me. We'll have a conversation one-to-one and get you set up with the path forward to make this thing work for you to earn you more income.
Gotcha. So barbers, beauticians, all that stuff, y'all having conversation anyway.
Anybody.
So might as well get paid off it. So let's get to the meat. Let's get to the meat of the conversation here. These last three clips here. Let's go ahead and start with the first question. When you're making one of the biggest financial decisions of your life, should experience and availability outweigh loyalty to a friend or family member who's only doing it part-time? The part-timers. Did you see my clip that I made on the Domino's pizza? Yeah, so that was, that's kind of the same. I see you liked it on, I think TikTok or Facebook, one of them.
Yep.
So what? Yeah, go ahead.
That was so. To be fair, that was me.
Right.
That was me in 2005. Just so everybody knows, in 2005, when I started in the business, I was delivering pizzas on evenings and weekends, doing flooring in the union, as a in the carpenters union for 7 years straight. By the way, I did this. Doing that 4:35 a.m. wake up, go drive to the job site, do the flooring installation, come back into the office, make cold calls, run appointments, do that on weekends, and then in between running Jimmy John's, pizza delivery, whatever. 70 hours a week, minimum to 80 hours a week for 7 years. Grinding to build my business, to build my client base. That was a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And I respect anybody doing this. And that's my answer to the question. I respect anybody doing this. Mm-hmm. But if you're not hustling and you're just like, yeah, I think I'm going to get my real estate license. I think I can make some money. Or I'm going to get a mortgage. Yeah, maybe like there's a thing in mortgages. Like, yeah, I guess I'll try that thing. And just stop. Just go do something else. Like this is not your thing. If you're going to grind and go. And Brandon, myself, Dr. Pope here, we can help you. We will help you grow and get you to that next level if you want to grind. But if you're not willing to do that, arguably, the majority of the population that gets into this industry, real estate or mortgage, both, same thing. I'm going to say no. Don't trust that person because they don't know what they're doing, because they're not hustling, they're not learning the guidelines, they don't have the team, they don't have the support. There's a balance here of who it is, what the team looks like, what the company looks like, what your hustle is. The majority answer is no. But the exception is yes, if you got the right person. And it's hard to identify that. But I'm going to bring this back around to humility. The person that comes in and says, you know what? I'm new. I don't really know what I'm doing fully, but I have a team lead. I'm going to work my butt off to make sure that this thing gets done. I've got this person and this person and this thing and that thing and technology and everything. We just go. That person you trust. If they're like, I just got started, but, trust me, well, so what's your process? Like, well, I don't know. I got a team, I think, and I just started with this company. Like, well, what's your split? Like, oh, I got to look that up. I'm not sure. But I think it's this. Just don't do that. Move over to an experienced person at that point, because you don't want to. This is a big, big decision. It's one of the largest financial decisions of your life, is to sell or buy a home. So you don't necessarily want to trust that to a brand new person that has no idea what they're doing, with no team structure and no drive. So there's a little bit of interviewing that goes into this. Even if it's your best friend in the world, interview the best friend of like, so what are you going to do for me? How are you going to run this thing? Like, what's the plan? And give it a little bit of thought, which by the way, might be a very hard conversation to do.
Yeah, you know that most people are not going to do that. Most people, it's going to be the path of least resistance. Most people buy from who they like, trust, and believe. If you're a friend already, they already like, trust, and believe you. So a professional has to earn that right. I get it. This depends on what it is. If it's a lawyer, it might be, and you're facing some charges, that might be something different than as far as a house. A lot of people take this lightly. They don't take this as serious as we might. So, to answer your question.
Can I push back on that a little bit, Brandon? If it's a lawyer, keep in mind they've gone to college, they've done X amount of years, they've trained her. Just like by the time they get to you, they've probably gone through a massive amount of training.
Somewhat. I mean, don't forget that they have, just like anybody else, they still have a learning curve.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be as seasoned. My point is that this depends on what you're doing. A pilot, a lawyer, where life is on the line, then you might want to consider more credentials, but that's not what people do. I know it's wishful thinking. We want people to do that, but that's not what people do. People, now just to kind of put it on the other side, just to play devil's advocate, let's go down the path that you were talking about. Deion Sanders say, always keep the main thing the main thing. So and what that means is that if you're in a situation where you need to do extra jobs, but that real estate is where your heart is, or that being a loan officer is where your heart is, and you still, hey, I'm still for my clients, I schedule my days where I can have undivided time with my clients, I can respect that. But it's the part-time mentality, it's the part-time preparation, it's the part-time attitude. Like, hey, all right, I get it. This is this vacation money, this is eats money, this is or whatever else they do money. If you treat it like that, then I don't respect it. I think it's you need to move aside at that point.
Side hustle versus full-time career.
Right. Well, if this is the main thing, I get that you're doing it part-time. It's not the time, I'd say. It's the attitude towards it. It's the approach to it. It's the how you play the game. Because if you really think about it, since AI took over a lot of stuff, if we really did our GOAT genie and have made calls, and we got like Lauren has this AI thing going. You know, we really don't have to spend as much time as we used to. We can really cut down our 40-hour work week to probably like 15. And then we have other time to do other. But if you approach it like that, I can respect it. But if you, hey, I just got my license just in case, you know, I get somebody and I close 1 or 2 deals a year, and that's my vacation for the year. That's most people's attitude. What is it, 80,000 realtors just in Houston, right? Mm-hmm. And only like 13% are closing some deals. Like, you know, the 13% is doing the business for the rest of the 87%, right? You know, so with that being said, you know, I think it's all in the approach. It's all in your attitude towards the business. You know, I'll go ahead and get Dr. Pope before we go ahead and run the clip.
Well, I agree with everything y'all have said on this one.
Right.
You know, you say making the biggest, I think experience is important, but again, as you said, I can honestly say for myself, I'll speak about myself. I've been in education for a long time. And in education, you must have your degrees, you must have your certifications. It's just required. Lowest pay, but we're required to have all the credentials. And then when I came into finally said I want to do my own thing, that was with a dealership first. And so I got my license for real estate and I was building the dealership. Now I knew up front my plan was to sell houses, and then I could use that money to buy inventory for the dealership because I didn't want to do a floor plan. So I'm strategic in my thoughts. But
dealership being what, by the way?
Oh, an automobile dealership, Pope's Automotive. And so one of my girlfriends said, though, she said, I think where you're going to really make your money is in real estate. And I said, you think so? And she said, yeah. And so I said, well, let me get the foundation of this dealership. Let me get the paperwork done. It took a year to get that off the ground. And then I said, okay, I got my first listing for $600,000. I said, you might be right. And so I decided, let me put the energy now into real estate, go full into the real estate. And I've seen the difference in, even on my page, you know, for Facebook, I've seen the 5,000 growth, percent growth because I'm focused on it. When I'm focused, I'm focused. And I think it makes the world of a difference. But I haven't been in real estate 20 years, but the same focus that it took me to become Dr. Pope, the same focus took me to do the dealership, is the same focus it takes to do the real estate. But it definitely makes a difference in your mindset. And I think that's what you're saying, Brandon. Mindset matters. You know, David says coming in saying, well, I have 20 years experience in real estate doesn't make you show that you're flexible. You're still hungry. And I get that too. Teachers are kind of the same grind. We do the same thing. We get in there in the classroom. You do what you've been doing for 20 years. It's hard to change it. Even as a professor, I've done that too at Texas Southern. So I can say for myself, I can see the difference in me this year. My children have said, Mama, you really on it. I said, yeah, I changed brokerages because I knew I needed something else. I knew I needed more. And when you know that, I think that's all of the difference. You have to know what you're doing it for. And you know, you are not a side hustle, but the mentality that I'm going to feed my family from this. I'm going to eat from this, not sometimes, for years. And I'm teaching my children, okay, hey, it's possible you want to get your license in this. Let's do this family. Again, I think that's so important. And that's why I love this podcast, The Power of Ownership, because I'm not looking to work for someone else. Yes, you work at a brokerage, but I'm saying you're building your business. This is sweat and equity I would have put in 60, 70 hours at the school or anywhere else. But I'm choosing to do that for my business. And it makes the world of difference when it's your business, not your side hustle.
Right. And that's an approach like such. That's a good intro to the next clip here. So let's go ahead and get it going here.
A lot of people in the real estate space probably won't like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. The part-time side hustle mentality is destroying the real estate industry. And before anyone gets upset, I'm not talking about the brand new agent that's working another job and trying to make ends meet. I'm talking about the people treating real estate like an extra spending habit. And instead of actually taking this job seriously, because this is not Uber, this is not DoorDash, people are literally spending $300, $500, $800,000 with you. They're making those decisions with you. And the problem is the agents that are treating this casually, and these are the same agents that are not answering their phones. They're not following up. They're not studying contracts. They're not negotiating well. They're not available when clients actually need them. Meanwhile, the agents that are doing this full time are obsessing over the market every single day. They're studying pricing. They're learning negotiations. They're improving their communication skills. They're actually sharpening their skills because they understand the weight of what this carries. Consumers don't hate real estate agents because of the profession itself. They hate the lack of professionalism. And honestly, a part-time agent, their work ethic shows up part-time, and they're just making commission checks to pay off other things that they want to do, travel, expensive cars, whatever the case may be. And the families that they're working with are stressed financially. They are making one of the biggest financial decisions of their lives, and they're doing it with someone who's just doing this as a part-time gig. It deserves more respect than a little side hustle that you're doing on the side. And if you're a buyer or a seller and you're considering working with a part-time or a side gig agent, this is your public service announcement to run. I may get canceled for this.
Gotcha. All right, so let me pose a question, then I'll open the floor in. So, and this one we kind of, I will want to belabor the point because we kind of answered it beforehand.
Yeah.
Does professionalism measure by how many hours you work, or by the level of preparation, responsiveness, and the value delivered to your client? And we kind of all agree. We could probably go ahead and go to the next one on that. We kind of all agree on that.
By the way, one of the best agents I know in my local market here that I would trust with my clients and my friends and family personally is a part-time agent. They work full-time at another job and do this part-time. But they're extremely kind, humble, professional, have a team, have the right ethics. Everything is tied in perfectly that I don't care what the hours are. I know this person's going to get it done. And I would trust myself and my own family with this person as well. Not naming names on the show because I'm hoping to have the person on the show soon. But 100%, just saying, even if you're part-time, it's not about the part-time hours. It's about the humility, the process, the team, everything else that comes into this thing. That's it. That's all it takes. Be a good person, do the right thing, help your clients. And if you can't help them, delegate. And if you delegate to the next person and they're trained right and they can help and you're overseeing and watching this properly, you can still make this thing work very, very well. So part-time agent, no problem. Not run, just qualify.
Investigate, right?
Yeah, they're not every agent is this person I'm talking about. I'm going to say the majority are not.
Probably the outlier, yeah.
Yes, he's an outlier.
Right.
However, in general, yes, not wrong in the delivery here of there might be a lot of circumstances where you do want to run from these agents where they're not going to take care of you fully. They can't be available all the time. So there is a balance here. But this is where doing your due diligence comes into play of asking for referrals, vetting them out, asking good questions, and talk to your mortgage advisor. The mortgage person knows better than anybody else what the other person's business is like. So ask them, what do you think of the realtor? And they can give you feedback on that point if they work together with that person. And that might be very helpful in the understanding of what you're doing going forward.
Gotcha. All right, so the last two clips here, we get into the head. Should professionals have complete freedom to express themselves however they want, or does representing a client require a high professional standard? So you mentioned, Dr. Pope, you mentioned the guy with the tattoos and stuff like that. So is professionalism a certain image or a certain standard that we need to, or has that changed, or is it, how would you say?
I think again, I'm going to go back to professionalism is how I think of behavior, and I think how you look is different. That doesn't mean, I think because people are wearing tattoos now everywhere, sleeves, and so it's just kind of hard to avoid tattoos. I just thought, again, when I first saw him, I was like, wow, I didn't expect him to look like that working for Sirhan. That was my thing. And so, but I think you can wear tattoos. I think you can still be professional. I think the two are different, but I think my knowledge base is where I think what sets us apart. I think your knowledge base. I remember I just had to do the training at 500. What was it? 98 hours. The 98 hours to redo the license thing, and I was like, man, that's a lot of hours. But one of the best classes I took was the broker class, and that one was so critical because I should have had that before I got my license. I should have been part of that one, and I learned so much from it. I think, and now I'm doing it like this. I hadn't done this last year. I've done podcasts and other things. I'm still a business owner. I've been doing business for a long time, not just education. But now I'm putting myself out here to really get in the field. And I think that's the part that makes you unique. The time, like David keeps saying about the team. You have to, I'm doing the training tomorrow about a thing on about team. I've been wondering, how do you build a team? Because I like to kind of work by myself. But now I'm exploring. You can't make the money by yourself. You need to get with some other people. Again, I think when you're looking at professional standards, and I'm also going to get the license, the endorsement, a credential to be in luxury, that's required of my brokerage. Different things. My broker this time says I can't wear jeans. So those are different levels. When you go to different levels, people have different levels of expectation. And I think that is different than how you look. You can have one of our realtors. He has the dye in the hair, pink hair, blue hair, green hair. He's a great professional realtor, a global advisor, but that's his unique expression. So I think you can have unique expression and still be top notch. I think professional is, as David says, about being kind, not being rude, being easy to work with, culture, respecting the climate. All that stuff is really, to me, the behaviors. That's professionalism. And how you look is not it. Now, I'm going to say, I have seen a realtor sister that wears some very, I don't think, appropriate clothes. But again, because I'm a teacher and I'm old school, that may be my own personal quirks coming in. I don't think you have to. I think you can still sell a house and not sell all your assets while you sell the house. Right. And that's something I'm still going to have to work on, with my old fashioned standards. But again, she's getting a lot of flack on her Instagram page too, though, where a lot of people are coming at her for that. So I think that's, to me, is where we differ, maybe on professionalism. And I think her behavior on that one is not where I would say professional, because she's not selling the house. She's getting more attraction for her than the clients. Yeah. So I think that's, to me, where I think you can have both. But I think the behavior is what I'm talking about when I say professionalism, and your level of skill and knowledge. I think it takes time to learn things in every profession. So, like you said, you can be in something for 20 years and not advanced in it. I'm open now to learning all I can to know about this area, because I don't know about the mortgage stuff. That's why I connected with you at that event. I'm trying to learn all I need to know to be an effective global advisor, real estate advisor for my clients. I need to know all of it, but not everything, but know enough where I'm effective.
Right. I want to say this, slight, different approach. I think the market's gonna dictate. Yes, you have the freedom. Depends on where you're at. You have the freedom to say whatever you want, but beware of the consequences as well. Yeah. So there's consequences to everything that you do. So,
but I didn't say anything what you want. Right. I was talking about that behavior earlier, but I was saying the dress. I think the dress is different too, because that is throwing me off a little bit more. And education,
whether it's verbally, whether it's physically, we talk about express yourself. A lot of people express themselves different ways, politically, stuff like that. You do have the freedom to do that. However, the client has the freedom to not do business with you as well. So
I spent some time.
So
I spent some time today cleaning up my social media. Yeah,
right.
yeah. You have to go back and look at it. You're right.
Right. So the point I'm trying to make is that when you're in business, you have to have you want to have your audience as broad as possible. So you don't want to isolate anybody. So you want to have it as neutral, as vanilla as possible to attract as many. Now, if you're going for a niche, I see some people that's very, very niche. All right. So if you're going for, all right, I only want to deal with this type of crowd, that's your choice. But don't forget, you got all this piece of the pie. You're isolated.
Some money on the table, huh?
Right. But yeah. So I think the more that you have the ideal of a professional standard, the more people you're able to help.
I totally concur.
Right.
Brandon, do me a favor. Agreed. Hit the next question, and then I'll answer it from there.
Well, next is the clip, so let's go and get the clip going.
Okay, well, hit the next question quick.
Wait,
hold on. Is that for after the clip?
That's for after the clip.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
Gotcha.
Agreed. Let's play the clip, and then I'll talk.
Gotcha. All right.
Sweet and short.
Gotcha. I like it.
Your every move. They're watching you on the Ring camera. They're watching you on the cameras in their home. And who knows, maybe they even have hidden cameras. And they have every right to watch you because you are in their home. And if you don't think what your agent is wearing makes a difference, you are wrong. Because the amount of text messages we get from our clients saying things like, I don't know who's the real estate agent. We just had an agent show up to a showing in a bikini and a swimsuit cover up. You will never find me showing a home in a swimsuit. Sellers are watching your every move.
I just said that, yeah.
So the question, if your appearance causes the clients question your professionalism before you could even speak, whose responsibility is that? The client's perception or your presentation?
Right. So I want to comment on this first. So funny enough is if anybody's watching, I'm name dropping here. I met with Renee Rodriguez, who is that book, right?
No, you talking about you gotta have to be we gotta have binoculars to see that.
Yeah, I know. Renee
Rodriguez. He tries, he really tries.
One of the top sales influencers in the world. We went last week and we talked about things, and it's funny, like we got on camera and he's like, okay, now David, I'm like, where are you sitting? And I'm like, I'm sitting like up on my cushion. He's like, okay, so sit closer. How's your that thing in the background is carrying your ring light, and then make sure your camera comes down a little bit, and then he's telling me what to do. Funny enough, when I went to his thousands of dollars spent to his Amplify event, where he had an in-person event here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the thing that he honed in on with me was not articulation, but how I'm presenting. And that included my dress. Mm-hmm. So I was the only person out of 14 top professionals, and I'm not going to name drop those people, but the people that were in the room were people that you all probably know. So all of these people are in the room, and I give the presentation of whatever he told me to do, of like upfront, everybody come up with a presentation, gave the presentation. He said, who here believes this guy is articulate, knows what he's doing, has presented before, has public speaking experience? Yes, everybody's hands. Now, who here had a personal connection with the guy? Nobody. So what he started doing is, so here's what we're going to do. First thing, buddy, you're in a suit, and I'm the only one in a suit, by the way, in the room. So he just starts undressing me in the room. And he's like, we're going to lose the suit coat. We're going to lose the tie. We're going to take off your shirt. We're going to and he starts just taking the whole thing off like this. And the whole, it's gone, right? Like, I'll just do it. Like, we're gone. Like, there it is. There's the tie gone, and takes the shirt off. And anyways, so I'm doing this in front of the room, and I'm feeling really like, this is weird. But he said, now do it again. and everybody felt more of an alignment with the exact same presentation with that. Now, here's the funny thing. When I was 19 years old, starting in the industry, my senior national sales director in the industry came into our office and said, out of hundreds of people sitting in this room, hey, you in the corner right there, over there, yep, in the right, stand up. And I'm like, oh God, what did I do? What did I do wrong? Like, everybody, if you don't look like this kid in a suit, tomorrow morning when you walk in the door, you're not getting let in. You're a professional, act like it. Dress the part. Or you can leave. This kid knows what's up. And I was like, okay, like, I'm never going to take my suit off again. Until I met Renee, and he's like, I'm going to undress you and take your suit off. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I got two completely different sales leaders telling me the exact opposite thing. You be professional, you be not professional. And I'm starting to finally learn 20 years in, there's a balance.
Yes.
It depends on the situation. There's a balance here of I want to look the part, I want to do the right thing, but sometimes wearing a hoodie or a t-shirt makes a big difference. So to this point of your client's perception, I don't know. It's hard to know. How do you know? That's my question. How do you know what the client wants to see or hear? Do they want to see the professional in the tie? Or do they want to see the guy in the baseball cap with the t-shirt, like Brandon, you know? Like
fishing shirt.
Yeah, but yeah, fair enough. I don't know. Like, right. I don't know. I'm literally every day guessing to this day, being transparent. I don't know how to dress.
Well, that's a whole different thing. You know, to answer your question, and it's a combination of both. With the digital, don't forget Kevin Samuels said this. He said, not Kevin Samuels. No, ABCD, appearance, behavior, communication, digital footprint, right? ABCD, right? So the digital footprint is now just as important as everything else. So they want to see a little bit of everything. So don't forget, one of the first conversations that we had is people going to look you up. So you present yourself in a suit, then they're going to look for the time that you're in a ball cap. They're going to look for the time that you're with your family. They're going to look for, you know, that's why I have such a big social media presence, right? So it's all of the above: appearance, behavior, communication, and digital footprint. So the digital footprint helps you out as well. So, but I had to give, so. But
and to be fair, you always wear the same thing every time. You're
right. Right. Well, this is the thing, and I went to. First of all, my avatar is exactly the same. I'm almost making myself like a mascot. So I'll tell you how effective this is. So I went to event. Alton was on a podcast, the developer. So I went to his, ceremony, right? And again, I hadn't been to this particular lodge in about 7 years, but everybody knew who I was. Oh, yeah, I see you on Facebook.
Before you even got there.
Yeah, before I even got there, I already know who I was. Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Brandon? They knew my name. I hadn't seen, I've seen you around. Like, either they knew my name or I've seen you around. So that's the thing, is that it's putting it in front of the face, and it's continuity. So and with me, the reason why I used to go around in a suit and all the time, when I first got into the business, I used to go always with a suit. You can look at some of the old footage, but
I'm going to have to go back and see that, by the way.
Yeah, I used to be in a suit.
I've never seen you in a suit, so I want to see it.
Yeah, I used to be in a suit all the first years of the podcast. I guess the first few years of the podcast, I was in a suit. But again, with that, I get more. I don't know. You're right. It just depends. It just depends. But a lot of people, the way I am now with casual people, of course, I'm either hopping out of Range Rover or hopping out something. That helps as well. But what you're hopping out and they see the fishing shirt, that seems money too. So it's how you carry yourself as well. So it's not just the dress; it's it's your overall appearance. Now, if you're in jeans and stuff like that, I get what you're saying as far as luxury, So it's a level of presentability, as well. But it's not necessarily you don't have to the dress to the nines every time, but you want to have a professional appearance. I wouldn't be jeans.
That's what I want to do. If
I
you
wouldn't do tank top. I would be the tank top loan officer.
I want to be in my suit all the time.
Right.
I feel weird outside of it.
Well, see, the thing about that, you could get the backlash if you too buttoned up. And I told you that when I've seen your first social media, you're trying to be too buttoned up, and that leaves people not able to relate to you. So people want to see the imperfection. People want to see, how I actually talk and stuff like that. That people want to see that stuff. However, it's the balance. They want to see both. They want to see you professional. They don't want to see you totally casual. They don't want to see you totally professional either. It's the balance, like you said. Right. So
I'm learning. I'm still learning, and you're part of my teaching, by the way, too. So thank you.
Gotcha. Let's get this last clip to sum it all up. Let's get the last clip out of the way. And the question is culture shaped more by standards you preach or the behavior you repeatedly allow? So. So not all at the same time.
I'm gonna argue that I only allow the standards that I preach.
All right.
So this is a non-issue for me. If you want to follow my process, if you want the best, if you want to follow the process, follow my process. If you don't, that's fine. You're going to make things more difficult, though, the entire way through. So why would you not want to do that? I mean, I don't. And if this causes a misalignment with realtors or others of like, well, I don't understand. Like, all I do with my Wells Fargo guys, I just send them a name and a number and they take an application. Fine. Keep working with them. If you want your clients to have better everything, don't do that. Do it this way. And then we'll do it better. So follow the process that I've set. I promise this is not trying to make your job harder. It's making the job easier for you, for the client, for everybody involved. Everybody involved benefits if we follow the right process sequence. If you don't follow that, it's not going to work. So I preach it, but I actually follow or, implement what I preach on this point.
All right. Well, let me say this. People respond better to when they understand the why. They got to understand your why of doing it. So if you understand like, hey, why Wells Fargo do what they do and why I do what I do, don't forget to tell them that I'm gonna educate you on why Wells Fargo does it that way, because they're gonna take 75 days to close. And so and you're gonna have 20 people talk, and you're not gonna be able to get in touch with anybody at 4:59 in the click.
Good point.
So,
by the way, on that exact same point,
right.
When somebody is referred to me, I have a very specific question that I ask. So Dr. Pope, you referred a client to me, all right?
Okay.
And what are you telling the client usually up front before you refer them to a lender? Like, what are you telling them? Just out of curiosity. I'm legit asking. I have no idea.
Okay. So I'm probably gonna say you're the one I know can get things done. They can work with you. They have some, I'm going to already ask some questions too. But I'm going to say, hey, these some people some guys that I know I've worked with. I met them. They're pretty cool. And I'm going to go with, they can get things done. Now, I don't know how long, but they're going to get something done. So let me give you the information and they'll follow up with you.
Okay. So then I reach out to the client. Shopping or not with random people they're talking to. Right away, first thing I need to do is two things. One, I need to solidify your relationship with me. So how did you hear about me? How did you get to me? Well, Dr. Pope actually referred us over. Oh my goodness. She is so amazing. I love her so much. She is so cool. She understands everything that we're talking about. We're aligned on the same topics. Like, she is so cool. Like, honestly, if I was going to refer a realtor to anybody, like, I know thousands of realtors in my local market. She's probably going to be top of my list because of this, and the other. I'm so glad you're working with her.
Mm-hmm.
That's conversation sentence 1.
Very
immediately,
good.
By the way, they're not going to shop you anymore. You're done. You're not. If they're in any way, shape, or form thinking about going to another realtor, they're not going to do that. Now, second question. What did she say about what makes David or Brandon different than every lender you've ever worked with before? Nothing. Just you're good and you close on time and you're fast and you're whatever you just said, right? It doesn't,
because I don't know what. So yeah.
Can I ask client, is it okay? Call it my 60-second sales pitch. Is it okay if I give you like a 60-second sales pitch on like what makes me different than everybody else?
Sure. Don't actually do that, but yeah, I gave it just. I'm not going.
Yeah. I love Brendan's ears. He's like, please don't go through that. No, I'm not going to do it. But that's my point: is sell you, sell me, and we're done. That's it. And by the way, talk to Brandon or me offline. We'll give you the pitch on why you never want to refer anybody other than us anywhere ever. But that said, that's it. And then now there's trust, and we can go by following, preaching, as it says in the question here, preaching the concept, and then we follow with the behavior of here's the concept, here's what we're going to do, here's next. And we walk them through the steps. Totally different than the average LO, loan originator, realtor, whatever else. If you follow through on what you're talking about, people trust you. If you don't, people won't. So there's a phrase, I think I said it last week. People love to be led and led well. So lead them well. That's it. Lead them. And they'll follow, and it'll save them tens of thousands of dollars if they just listen and follow the direction.
I'm gonna get the what it was, Dave Chappelle, the button.
Yeah, wrap it up. Yeah.
wrap it up, D. So let's go ahead. Did everybody get a chance to, All right, so let's go to the last clip. Let's go to the last clip here.
Yes, sir.
All right, and
I told you ahead of time. I'm sorry. This is a big point of contention for me.
Right.
What you tolerate becomes the standard. That's it. That's the whole rule. Every behavior you let slide, every conversation you avoid, every time you look the other way because it's easier than simply addressing it. You're not being patient. You're not being kind. You are actually setting the new bar, and everyone around you is watching. Your team learns what's acceptable from what you allow to happen, not from what you say in the meetings, not from what's written in the handbook, from what you actually tolerate day after day. If something is happening that you don't want to become normal, address it now, not later, not after one more chance, right now, because tolerance compounds, and whatever you let stand becomes the new floor for your team, for your culture, for what you'll be living with a year from now. I think it's really simple. What you tolerate.
Right. So your reputation, if your reputation, your team, or relationship reflect what you tolerate, who is ultimately responsible for changing the standard? And again, it all points back to you. Just to wrap it up and digest, and I'll open the floor. Everything we went through as far as the clips is, it's all about your tolerance level. Are you going to tolerate not being great? Are you going to tolerate not, being mediocre at your job? Or blaming everybody else. Well, you should have said it better, or let your ego get away. Or will I take ownership and say, hey, I need to communicate better. I need to be liked in certain arenas. This job is about being liked. I mean, as a loan officer, as a mortgage broker, that's what we, our realtors have to like us, our clients have to like us, the community has to like us, so it's about being liked. It's about who enjoys working with you, and that's the more money you're gonna make. That's what this is. I'm the coldest probably on the planet. The only probably person I know that's probably colder than me is Fung. At Loans is the other Houston branch manager, but I can't think of anybody else as cold as I mean, Davis is cold, but I'm talking about pure knowledge as far as loans. Like my grandmother used to say, twice as nice, half the price. I'm probably one of the coldest that there is. However, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. People, this what it is. I'm in Texas. People judge you based on your appearance. It is what it is. But will I use that as an excuse, or do I have to get better and better and better and better at my experience and how people experience me? So it's all about what you tolerate. Will I tolerate mediocrity? Will I tolerate, seeing other people that I know I'm, better than being on top of me as far as production? When I know them, so it's all about what you tolerate. It's all around standard. As far as your standard, who do you want to be? What kind of culture do you want to create? Culture of excellence, culture of winners, or do you want to create a culture of just getting by, side hustle mentality? Let me make what I can make and go from there. So it all ties together. I open the floor and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Well, I agree with what you just said. That's you hit that one pretty much out the park. So I agree with there.
Agreed. Honestly, Brandon, if I met you at an open house and you said anything to me, I'd be like, this dude knows what's up.
Right.
Like I would have no question trusting you.
Well, but that's the thing. It's like it's not. You're from Minnesota. It's different.
Well, okay, fair enough. True. True.
And I'm not using that as an excuse. I said I'm
Minnesota nice. Minnesota nice.
Right. It's a different ball game. Like I said, I went to college in the Midwest. So it's different than where we're at down south. I mean, this is, but I'm not using that as an excuse. One of the critiques that when you first met me, like, hey, wait, slow down. I don't understand what you're saying. Because I'll go rapid speed, bah, 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 bah. And people think I'm from New York. Sometimes the way I have a fast cadence. So like, hey, I'm understanding part of what you're saying. I'm not understanding what you're saying. So I'm taking my time to articulate more words and get better. So that everything I do is to try to get better and better and better. How do people see you? How do people experience you? Got you? So
funny enough, getting to know you better, I never have an issue with that anymore.
Right. Well, I practiced it.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I honestly, like, just in general, I think when it comes to team lead, team structures, though, here, one thing that going back to the previous clip here of if your reputation or team relationships relied on what you tolerated, I honestly think like it depends on the team, the situation. Because in our company, by the way, there might be a lot of people that are in our downline necessarily that are, they're below us in how we've recruited and trained and developed people. But if they don't plug into the team trainings, if they're not following the flow, if they're not really doing what they need to do, they can try to be the best person out there. But if they're not tapped in, are we responsible for that person's success if they're not plugging in? So
this is a little different. They're really not on our team. They're on our downline, but they're not on our team.
Sure, true.
Right.
So we're talking more like
they're not Team Infinity. They're not HOC, right?
Yeah.
So they're not. It's not my team is HOC Mortgage. That's even though we are next to yours, the Infinity team, right? So it's not the team. It's downline. There's a difference. So if for my team, I have a certain standard that I'm a role by. So, but let me ask this question so we can get out of here. I know because this is probably on the longest. After watching all the clips, what's the one thing that you're taking away from this episode? One thing that you're taking away, Dr. Pope. Since you're the guest, I'll let you go ahead and.
The one thing I've taken away from there, I think the tolerance. going on tolerance, because that's an area where I have, again, when you set your standards and your boundaries, that everybody don't like you, Brandon. Everybody don't like you. They may smile at you, but they don't always like you. So I
They
think
enjoy
that
you
was,
though.
no, not really. Some people don't. I find it, for example, tonight, David called me Sheila twice, and I said, let me let him know I go by Dr. Pope. I immediately
and I didn't call you anything other than that.
Nope.
The entire show, right?
That's right. But again, I'm talking about, it's just that simple. And the moment I even interject sometime with that starts a friction right there. People will say, well, why do I have to call you that? And you'll be surprised. And you go, okay.
Well, I already know, because my daughter and my goddaughter are both PhDs. I already know.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I already know that.
It's even something as simple as most people can't get my name right.
Right.
My name is David Youngs.
Yeah.
Nobody gets it right. Every single day, 2 to 3 times a day, it's Young, Dave Young. No, not old, young, but there's 2 of me, Youngs. So it's a simple thing. It's not even a PhD thing. Like, it's just my name.
No, but I'm just saying how when you start with your tolerance,
right.
and when you start setting the tone on even the name, that already for some people can start a ripple. So you have to, sometimes you say, do I want to tackle that today or not? And so I've learned I have to keep that up. So I love that the video said, the thing that you allow, you'll keep dealing with. And I think that is in every area of your life, not just your work life.
Right. You get you track it what I'm putting down.
Oh yeah, definitely track it.
So you see in the summary. So David, what you one thing you taking away from this episode? Then I'll go ahead and do
humility. That's it.
Right.
Humility.
Right.
I don't care if you're brand new in the business, 50, 100-year veteran. If you can actually say that, I don't care what your experience is. Screw it.
Right.
I don't care. I don't care. To be honest, I probably know more than you anyway. So throwing my ego into this thing, stop it. Just stop it. I don't care who you are and what you have going on. Just be humble enough to learn new things. We never know it all. There's always new things to learn. And I promise, if you don't work with Brandon or I, there's about 100 new things you need to learn right now from watching the show that we have that you don't have right now. Guaranteed. I don't care who you work with, what it is, what products you have. We have 100 more things plus you don't have. So be humble enough to accept the new information. Let us help you. Why are you fighting us? Why are you creating an ego of, I'm God's gift to real estate, I've got 35 years experience? Why are we playing this game? Just stop. Let's just help each other, help the clients grow, and get more families and clients under contract to help them with their real estate plans as well. And if we do this the right way as a team versus independently fighting against each other where we're on separate, pedestals of ego, if we're all on the same page and we can help the client, it's going to work out better in the end anyway for them and for you and for me and everybody else involved. So take the ego out. Be humble. That's it.
Gotcha. And the last word of the day is your reputation isn't built by what you believe. It's built by standards you consistently uphold and the behavior you constantly tolerate. So that's the overarching theme, and it's a set in stone. It's those behaviors that you do every day. And, you start degrading, it can recede. You start receding on those standards. And before you know it, it's a whole different thing. There's my mentor, Mattress Mac, always used to say, he always talked about the Oreo cookie CEO, and the Oreo cookie hired a CEO because he promised them he could get a better bottom line. So he took out one ingredient, so 10 years down the line, and, the next CEO promised a better bottom line. So they took out another ingredient. So after 30 years, it was a totally different product. so you could become a totally different product by taking out these ingredients that made you successful. And with that, we're gonna say see y'all next week. Don't, you know, only tolerate excellence. Don't sell yourself short. With that, we're gonna say peace. Oh, new hashtag deliberate outro as well. So hope y'all enjoy.
Oh, and Brandon,
yes.
My chair, gallery furniture.
I'm gonna have a Mattress Mac clip coming up here.
Rewards action, not intelligence. Life rewards action, not intelligence. The smarter you are, the better your excuses. The more accomplished you are in talking yourself out of taking action, in proving to yourself that every action that you could take is too small, too meaningless, and not worth it. And George Leonard, who brought jiu-jitsu from Japan to the US, one of the things he said is, absolutely, you cannot do everything, but you can do one thing, and another, and another. And that's the way you make massive progress in life. The matter that you show up and try and act week after week, month after month, year after year, with a little bit of intelligence, you start to get better and better and better. Even if the action is poor action, you're going to learn something from it. Discipline is necessary in our life in order to generate consistent, systematic action. But I think until you measure something that matters, you do not know if you're disciplined. Action leads you to grow, leads you to engage with others. Action, everything good in life happens when you're off the sofa and engaging with the world. So find a measure of something that matters. Pay attention to whether you're making progress on the actions that lead to that measure, and look at what needs to happen in your discipline so that you value action above thinking or intending to take action. Life